Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence afterwards, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Before we start, if everybody would please silence your cell phones. Jamie, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Queenie Barr.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Here.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Here.
Trustee Nicholas Manning.
Here.
Trustee Janice Bryan.
Here.
Trustee Ed Holland.
Here.
And Trustee Richard Tupar.
And he is excused. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, and I would entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda for July 13th, 2022, as presented by staff.
And I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Ed Hallam and a second by Trustee Janice Bryant to approve the agenda of July 13th, 2022, as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Motion carries. Next is the approval of the minutes of the June 8th, 2022 meeting, and I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda of June 8th, 2022. The minutes of June 8th, 2022.
Second. Here we have a motion by Trustee Nick Manning and seconded by Trustee Betsy Harrison to approve the minutes of June 8th, 2022 as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is audience business. And so all persons wishing to address the board shall do so from the podium, and you will come up and state your name and your address for the record. You will be limited to 5 minutes per person. And this has to be not on the agenda. So, Georgette, can you bring me the list? Or Justin is bringing me the list.
I think,
Is everybody on the agenda?
well, I think Caesar just signed up for the wrong one. You can double check that.
Okay, so Mr. Walters, are you talking about on the agenda or not on the agenda? Is it, you're not on the agenda? Okay, let me check. Ann Coker, are you on the agenda or not on the agenda?
I am not.
Okay. Kathy Siebert?
No.
Okay. And Ruben Mestis, are you talking about what's on the agenda or another subject? Ruben, are you talking about what's on the agenda or something else? Not on the agenda? Okay, all right. That's what I needed to know. Thank you. Okay, so first up will be Philip Walters.
Mayor Bars, members of the board, Linda and I are here tonight just to thank the town and staff for the support and for the Opera House and the other businesses in town under the DOLA Main Street Open for Business grant. It's been a wonderful experience, first off, working with the town and particularly with our town clerk who's jumped into the fray and figuring out how to deal with all that paperwork and keeping DOLA happy, which is, of course, always an interesting experience. And also Rachel, which she was in her capacity as our Economic Development Coordinator. And welcome to our new Economic Development Coordinator. Just wanted to thank everybody here. It was an amazing thing to see all these projects in town, and we were very proud to participate in that. And just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip.
And I just wanted to say this grant was very appreciated, and this project was way overdue. We wanted to do it. We didn't know when we would be able to do it, but this made it happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. The next one is Ann Coker.
I am not officially on the agenda. Thank you.
Are you on the agenda or not?
I'm not.
Then,
Honestly. 3 times now.
well,
No.
then you need to come up now. If you're not speaking on something that's on the agenda, you need to come up and speak now.
I have no idea what the problem is. I'm not on the agenda.
Oh, you signed up to speak,
You're
is
signed up.
what you
I
did.
signed the wrong one. Kathy, same thing. Sorry.
Okay. All right. And Ruben, then?
He's shaking his head no.
Okay. All right. Okay. So then we will move right along to they just signed the wrong one. So, announcements. Heather.
We have a new community and economic development coordinator, named Jason Armstrong, so we wanted to introduce him and let you all know, you may be seeing him around. So, other than that, that's the only announcement I have at this time. I don't know if Sherry or Justin have any announcements. That's all we have.
Okay. The only announcement I have is Mancos Days is coming up. We will be having a parade, and the town of Mancos, because of their providing the insurance for that, has been offered to do a float in the parade. So I am asking you guys to put your heads together and see if you want to come up as with the staff maybe, so some of the staff wants to ride on it, or some of the board members want to ride on it and have a float in the parade to let people in Mancos know that our town supports the Mancos Days. So I am the parade chairman, so if you guys get together and come up with something, let me know. I won't be able to ride on it because I'm going to be overbooked, but I have a trailer if somebody needs it, so I'll leave that up to you guys to come up with something. And I think it is well known in the community right now that we lost a former mayor, Michelle Black, this past week. Michelle had been in town for many years and very involved in our community, and so we will all miss her tremendously. So those of you see Amy, please share our love with her and with Michelle's family for her loss. Okay, moving right along, the committee reports, Region 9, Denise.
Yeah, you guys should have all received the email, so I don't have anything other than to report. I could read the summary if you guys are interested in the summary. So what they came up with, they finally came out with their report for living wages. And so the summary, so Region 9, for those who don't know, is our economic development in this area, and it includes like 9 counties and 9 regions here. And so they came up with their summary on livable wages, and it included like housing costs and so on. What they found was that in Region 9, Montezuma was the least expensive county, and Archuleta is the most expensive county to live in for a family of 4. So using housing costs specific to each community, we found that Cortez and Mancos are the least expensive communities in the region for a family. The town of Pagosa Springs is the most expensive community in the region for a family due to the high cost of housing. Workforce housing policies and initiatives are being discussed in all counties in the region. Raising public awareness at the local level is also essential to closing the wage gap. In order to enhance the quality of life through fair wages, a number of strategies may be useful. One is to build a coalition of workers, employers, government, and organizations who work together to achieve a living wage. Educate workers, employers, and government officials about the importance of creating a living wage. Publicly recognize employers who provide or aspire to provide a living wage, and advocate for improving minimum wages at the local, state, and national level. That was what the summary came up with.
All right. Thank you for taking your time to attend that long meeting. Okay, next on the agenda is our Montezuma County Commissioner report. Gerald, you are up.
I think you guys are doing a better job of upsetting people than we are. But I'm proud you guys are.
We have to get people to come.
Yeah, I see that. I see you guys are doing a better job than we are, because we don't get this many people to our meetings, that's for sure. Couple things. The National Conservation Area legislation was supposed to get introduced in committee today back in Worston, so hopefully that all proceeded okay. We also met with Heather, me and Jim Candelaria met with Heather and Terry up at the gravel pit to work on how we're going to transfer some of that back to you. We got a process we're going forward with, and should get that done hopefully fairly rapidly, since we're not changing the zoning on it. That will help the whole process, because we should be able to just do a boundary line adjustment and change it over. So should work out fairly well. We do have a new administrator hired. He's going to start Monday morning, and his name is Travis Anderson. He was with the Sheriff's Department, detective for the Sheriff's Department. He's going to start Monday morning. So that's the main thing. The other thing that we're dealing with is funding for our senior center programs has dropped back to pre-COVID levels. Okay, so which is going to take a big hit, because everybody kind of got used to having all this COVID money, and so it's going to drop back to that level of funding. That's where it is. They cut everybody across the whole region. AAA did. Okay, so it's going to drop it back, and we're trying to find ways to keep all our centers open that we can. Okay, right now, if we just operated at the rate we're going, because their year starts 1st July through the end of the year, we will be out of money at the end of the year. So we got about half enough to operate on to keep all three going. So we're working through some process to see what we can come up with to fund the rest of that. It's just everybody kind of got used to having a lot more money with the COVID deal, and it's gone away. So we've got to readjust and go back to where we can make do with what funds we have. So I think that's the biggest things.
Thank you.
You guys got any questions?
Does anybody have any questions for Gerald?
Thank you, Gerald.
No,
Okay.
thanks, Gerald.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the treasurer's report, the June bills and claims. And does anybody have any questions?
I do. So I was wondering what the community recode DOLA planning grant is. Could you just kind of give us a
That's the
quick?
consultant fees for Elizabeth. She's the one doing, our DOLA planning grant, the land use, we're redoing.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. The co-working and incubator model, the credit back from space, all the alternative space Telluride? What is that?
So we sent off a check, I believe the month prior, and they moved from Telluride to Grand Junction. The check somehow got lost in between the move.
Gotcha.
So that one is canceled and we reissued another check.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything else? I did question, we had a tree cost share. And I thought our limit was 1,500, can you,
That one was actually between multiple lots.
okay,
It was the same owner, but multiple lots where he redid his sidewalks, pulled out the trees, all of that. So that's how it went.
okay, all right, that explains that, okay. All right, anybody else have any questions? Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the bills and claims as presented by staff.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, Cindy Simpson, and a second by trustee Betsy Harrison to approve the bills and claims as presented by staff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sound. Motion carries. Okay, moving right along to our discussion and action items. First thing is the Mancos Schools boundary adjustments. And Heather?
And I don't know if Todd is here. Todd, if you're here from the school. We've been working on this project since the school did their best grant and did the remodel. We finally have all of these adjustments completed. We received the title policies that were necessary. And these are the boundary adjustments on the east side of the football field where they expanded. The school and the property owners entered into an agreement where the property owners gave or sold, that's between them, some of their property to the school. They never finalized those boundary adjustments with the town through the process, so those property owners are still paying property taxes on property they can't use. So we finally have everything that we need. I have large copies if you need them, but it's been reviewed by Safe Bill, it's been reviewed by the school's attorney, it's been reviewed by our town attorney. Everything is finally in place. We are now ready to ask for board approval of these boundary adjustments. And then we will get all of the new plats signed and filed with the county, and then everything will be legal for both the school and those property owners. Because this is just a boundary adjustment with property owners who agree, it didn't have to go to planning commission, so it comes straight to you.
And so we don't need to do a public hearing on this, or the,
No.
okay, all right.
And I do have these large copies if you need to see them. And we've talked about this several times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so all these property owners are aware of this and they're just waiting for us to get this replotted and so what's the school's portion again to do this?
So what's going to happen now is once the board approves it, the school will need to pick up these large copies, take them to the property owners and get signatures. The school needs to sign off, the Best Grant Company needs to sign off. And then once the school obtains all of their signatures, it will come back to us. The clerk will sign, the mayor will sign based on the minutes of this meeting, and then they will be filed with the county, and then boundaries will be adjusted, and then the assessor will do it.
Wow.
Given that these property owners are paying taxes for something they shouldn't be, is there urgency? Is there any sort of timeline on the school to kind of get this all the way through?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
We started on this in 2017.
Right, that's why I'm asking.
And that is between the school and those property owners. So that's not.
Great.
Sorry.
All good.
Anybody else have any questions? I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the boundary adjustments for the Mancos School District to the Board of Trustees.
Second.
It's written weird.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson and a second by trustee Nick Manning to recommend approval of the boundary adjustments for the Mancos School District to the Board of Trustees. Jamie, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison. Aye. Trustee Nicholas Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Rose.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Howard.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. So we'll move that right along. Next on the agenda is the 217 South Mesa Minor Subdivision. Heather?
Right here. Okay, there you go. So property owners are here, Kale and Gina. This is something where they are splitting their property, so it's a minor subdivision. Again, the plot is in here. I have a large copy if you need to see it. It did go to the planning commission. They developed their review. They recommended approval to you. Safe Built has looked at it. Everybody's looked at it. Everything's legal. So both lots comply with all of the current land use code requirements. So now we're asking the board to review and decide. And like I said, they're here if you have any specific questions.
And so the zoning for this area is 7,500 square feet, and so, okay, so they both meet it.
Safe Built reviewed the survey, their plans.
Any other questions? No. Okay. You guys have anything you want to say?
No.
Okay, all right. Then I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we recommend approval of the minor subdivision at 217 South Mesa Street. Thanks, Colorado.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Nick Manning and a second by trustee Betsy Harrison to recommend approval of the minor subdivision at 217 South Mesa Street, Mancos, Colorado. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee Nicholas Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Hall.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Is that somebody's cell phone that's going off? If it is, please silence it. Next on the agenda is the Mancos Chavalos Mexican Restaurant's liquor license. Jamie? Is this Jamie or Heather?
I don't think they're here. This is just their yearly renewal. Right, there have been no violations in the past 12 months, and the marshal's office has no objections to this renewal.
Any questions, anybody? And I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve Mancos Chavalos Mexican Restaurant liquor license renewal and authorize the town clerk treasurer to submit the renewal application to the Department of Revenue.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Denise Bryan and a second by trustee Ed Hallam to approve the Mancos Chavalos Mexican Restaurant liquor license renewal and authorize the town clerk treasurer to submit the renewal application to the Department of Revenue. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee Nicholas Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Hall.
Okay, motion carries. Next on the agenda is the appointment of Alice Gosh to the tree board.
So Alice is here, if you have any questions. Generally, these appointments go to the tree board first for recommendation, and then they come to you. However, our tree board does not have quorum, so they don't meet in order to recommend.
Catch-22 there.
So Alice has attended tree board meetings. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to say to them, but so I am recommending to appoint Alice to the tree board so they have a quorum. So we have members, what we have though is there's just some personal issues, so we need to make sure that we have fully seated board.
No question. Since we have a full house, how many other openings do we have?
Well, we do have an opening on P&Z for an alternate because I stole Jason from the planning commission and hired him. So we'll be advertising an opening on the planning commission as an alternate, and I believe we do have one more opening on the tree board if anybody's interested.
Yay, public service, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope everybody heard that.
Well, if you sit on the planning commission, you get a whopping $50 a month to attend the meeting, so.
Yes.
So is Alice here?
Yeah, Alice is here.
Alice,
She's behind us.
okay, all right, just want to, so everybody knows who Alice is, okay? All right, so I would, you have anything you want to say to the board or anything?
Well, I'm happy to find an opportunity to serve in a job that fits my personal qualifications in my life situation. I love trees, I love the town, I'm happy to be helpful.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Alice.
Then I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we appoint Alice. Yes, to the tree board.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Nick Manning and a second by trustee Denise Bryant to appoint Alice Gesh to the tree board. Jamie, call the roll, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee Nicholas Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryant.
Aye.
Trustee Ben Howard.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Alice.
Should have been a snooze.
Okay, so next on the agenda is our sewer rate discussion. I'm going to let Heather entertain this first, and then we will open it up for comments from the audience. Remember that you have 5 minutes. Please keep your comments polite. If it gets out of hand, I will wrap you down and you will be removed. If it gets repetitive and there's over and over everybody saying the same thing, we may stop and ask if there's somebody that has something else new to say. Then we will call on them. But let's keep this professional. Heather, would you please start?
So I do want to say that last week I did receive 4 more pieces of feedback from citizens. So I brought those to me. I didn't want to put them in the board packet. Some of them have contact information and stuff. So I didn't put them in the board packet. But I did receive 4 more feedback, pieces of feedback, I will say, regarding the rate structure that we implemented. So we talked about this last year at 9 meetings, I think. We did post information on our website and our Facebook page. We did put flyers around town in July for an August meeting. And then in December, the board passed a resolution finalizing those rates to become effective January 1. So as a matter of business for the town, you should not necessarily make a habit of revisiting old decisions if that new business and forward-thinking business doesn't happen. When these discussions were happening, the economy wasn't what it was, gas prices weren't, they were more than shortage. So, if the board wants to revisit the decision, you can, but it's not a good practice for the board. We had our audit, and he presented the audit to you, and did say that the sewer fund is in need of additional revenue. We have debt obligations on the new sewer plan from 2008 or 9 that require that we keep a certain amount of operating, that our revenue matches a certain amount of our operating, so that was discussed in the audit. We are currently not meeting those obligations with the revenue that we're receiving. So that was part of those discussions last year. I put a ton of information in the staff report for you guys, trying to keep it brief enough that you didn't go to sleep in the second paragraph, but still trying to make information available to the citizens who may not have been aware of the discussions that we had last year. I did give you some additional, like I recapped some things that we had talked about last year and maybe some new ideas for discussion if you were so inclined. Whatever you do, we will need to bring another resolution. If you take action, let me change that. If you take action tonight, if you choose to change the rates, it's going to have to be brought to a future meeting because we need to have an official resolution of the town in order to change rates. If that cannot be done by motion and second and roll call vote tonight. So that's the short version. I'm happy to provide any other information you want. I don't know if you want to take public comment and then talk about it. I'll turn it back over to you guys and then let me know what you need.
Okay, I'm going to ask a couple questions first. When was the last time the sewer rates were increased? Can you tell me that?
It was before COVID. 2018, I believe, 2018 or 2019. And for several years prior to that, we increased by inflation.
Was that sewer rates or water rates?
Both.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And then we stopped rate increases when COVID hit just to try to hit our citizens' prices for those who were not working or job insecurity.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the board, do you guys want to discuss this first and then listen to public comment, or do you want to listen to public comment first and then we discuss? Betsy?
I don't have a strong feeling. I'd certainly like to hear the public comment.
Okay. Ed?
I think we should go with public comment first.
Nick?
Yeah, I'm a-
Okay. Denise? Cindy?
Yeah.
Okay,
Public
all
comment
right.
first.
I just want everybody to have a say in how we're going to do this. Okay, so we will start with public comment. I will call people up.
May I ask a question? I have a question. How much would everybody's water bill have to increase to make the operating revenue equal what it's supposed to?
That is in our report.
$65.
At least up to $65 per month.
It's a sewer rate.
That's
For the
sewer,
sewer
not
rate.
water.
Sewer.
That's not the water, that's just the sewer rate.
And how much of an increase is that from the previous rate or the current rate?
Currently, you're paying $37.83 a month.
So that's quite a large jump.
And Kathy, just for your and everybody else in the room, every time we give a board packet, we issue a board packet to the board, we also post the entire packet on our website, generally the Friday before the meeting. So everything that they're seeing is available on our website. Just so you know for future. That answer to your question is in the staff report.
And to ask questions and comment, we really need people to come up here as they're
Right.
called.
Right.
Mayor Bars is gonna call people up based on the sign-in sheet.
So first to sign up is Craig Benally. If you would state your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Craig Benally. I live at 877 Bauer Avenue. Yeah, well,
Craig, can you speak nice and loud? We're getting requests.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we can't hear. Is that thing on? Can you
Raise the mic up.
talk into that? Yeah.
There we go. How's that?
Thank you.
That better? All right. Yeah, I want to first thank the board for entertaining this. Madam Mayor, distinguished trustees, I know this is not an easy topic, and I can tell through the board packet, reviewing it, having seen that a lot of time and effort has already gone into this. So I want to thank you for that. I think we all have an understanding of our current situation within our nation and the world. We have, inflation's at 9.1, just went up. And like you mentioned, the rates are going to be tied to that inflation as well. And so that's going to be something we'll be looking at in the future. We're on the precipice of a possible recession. So when you talk about Region 9 and cost of living, that wage gap is going to increase. Oil and gas, the cost per barrel, even though the price is dropping, for it to reach the American public, it's still be quite a while before we get to see any kind of relief from that that's significant. Rents are going up. Fuel costs, like I said, are still pretty high, and we're even looking at natural gas as well. So those are like the 30,000 feet stuff. I guess to drill down with all that, Mancos is a bedroom community. So majority of the people here have to travel. And those that don't are probably fixed income. And it's going to be a big issue to have to foot the magnitude of increase in the bill. The reason why I say magnitude, it's not to be incendiary. It is quite a big jump. Just in the past 2 months, my bill has equaled to $500, and 250 of that is going to the sewage. From what I see, it was coupled to the usage, the water usage. I don't think that that's wise, considering the large jumps. I think if we had it kept at a certain base rate, that would make more sense instead of having it coupled to the usage. Because there is no way that my family is taking twice as many showers and flushing the toilet that many more times in the summer versus the winter. Many municipalities have rates that are tied to usage, but they use the rates from the winter months. I think that's probably where more of the wisdom could be in trying to figure out what a rate should be for this going forward. I think there's a lot of thought that's gone into this up until this point. And I think it's something that probably the room would like more clarity on. But aside from that, I think it's also something that, as we see here, when we start getting hit in the pocketbook, that, you know, it's a serious issue. And I think today that's kind of what we're looking at. I'm not sure what we can talk about as far as like solutions. I think right now our community is so inflamed that we really just need time to speak.
30 seconds.
I guess the one thing looming on me is that rents are average $2,000 in Colorado. But at what point are we going to start driving our community out of the town? And other people that can afford those rates will move in. I don't like to use the word, but it's going to be a gentrification that's being ticked off by this rate. So I just want to put that out there for consideration.
Thank you very much.
Can you raise the level? I'm struggling to hear.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's on. Thank you, Craig.
Because I just turned up.
Okay.
Say something. I think the next person to come up there and speak.
Okay, and so and remember when you're addressing the board, not the audience. Okay, so do talk to us. Next on the list is Robin Chavez. Please state your name and address for the thing and pull the mic down so and speak.
Robin Chavez, 321 South Main. Thank you for listening to me. I live at the very end of Main Street where the very large cottonwoods, the last of them, are alive. I have the last one in front of my house. They're hundreds of years old. They've all died down to my house on my side. There's one or two on the other side. My concern is some of us won't be able to water with this arrangement with the expensive sewer. Unfortunately, I'm not very political and I wasn't paying attention and didn't come to the meetings last year. And that's my bad. But I'm not sure what the solution is either. Obviously, bills need paid, but it just doesn't make sense to me to raise sewer based on water when we're watering gardens to feed our family. I mean, maybe some people have golf course type lawns, but mine isn't one of them. I have fruit trees and gorgeous old trees, And I think that some of us may have to stop watering because we can't afford it. And if that happens,
Please, no side conversations. We're all trying to hear the one person. If you need to talk, please leave the room. Go ahead, sorry about that.
and if that happens, then, well, trees will die. And they won't come back quickly. The recession will fix itself way before 200-year-old cottonwoods will. And then we'll have to get a beautification grant to help fix Main Street because it'll be kind of ugly when it turns into, dead greenery and landscaping. So maybe just during the summer months, we do something differently when people are watering. Maybe a flat rate. I don't know, but this isn't going to work. I think it is a mistake, and it might be tragic, in fact, that a lot of nice things will go away because of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, the next one is Jennifer Gray.
Jennifer Guy, 333 South Mesa Street. My experience is that sewer rates have been based on winter water usage. And we all know that the increased summer water usage is a result of us maintaining our gardens and landscaping. This extra water is not going into the sewer. Basing our sewer rates on summer water usage adds a false fee. It is not based on actual sewer usage. If we're to trust our town government, we need to be assured we're being charged for an essential utility at a fair rate. After hearing Heather speak about needing more funds for the sewer plant, I think it would be better to increase the sewer rate, the base sewer rate, rather than have it based on water usage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one on the list is Esther Cook.
Mayor Bars, Mancos Town Board, thank you for serving and for listening to our concerns over the sewer. And part of this has been said, so I apologize if I repeat, but I just want to tell you that there are two persons living in our house, and we're very careful with our water that we use inside. But we have a lot and a half, and we have a lawn, and we have a fair-sized garden. So our water rate is more than what a lot of people's are. And I understand that, and I'm willing to pay for the water. But I don't feel like that water is going into the sewer and that we should be charged for that in that manner. And I think that a different way of taking care of that would be better off. So if you could reconsider that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one on the list is Janelle Scrivener.
Janelle Scrivener, 338 Grand Avenue. A lot of what I wanted to say has been said. I do have a question, and thank you for letting me speak tonight. Is there any way we can measure sewer usage? Does any city have that ability? No? Okay. Well, I just want to make a plea for you to reconsider the rates, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We looked into that to answer her question, if there's a way to measure the sewer. There is not. There's no metering system for that. Even Denver doesn't have that capability at this point. So we're trying to, listen to what everybody has to say and come up with some solutions. Next is Brandon Bell.
Good opportunity to invent something and patent it.
Yeah. Hi guys, most of you know me. My name's Brandon Bell. I'm at 115 West Street. Most of what I had to say has already been said as well. I'm a wastewater operator. I've been in the industry for about 17 years, and wastewater is a tough thing to monitor. There are flow meters, but they're not cheap and they're not fun to work on, maintain, but not in the collection system. I mean, it all flows to the same place. So, kind of along the same lines as everybody said. My family uses around 3,000 gallons of water in the wintertime. That water, 99% of it does go directly into the collection system, into your aerators, your pumps, your filters, your screens, chemical dosing, UV, disinfection, all that expensive stuff. But our household usage stays consistent year round. And when summertime rolls around, and of course we water our yard, we have a decent yard, and that extra water doesn't to me, doesn't affect, it affects the water side, but not the wastewater side of things. So, one thing I'd recommend on increases and things like that, I've always put any information like that, I always try to put on bills to where it gets to your customer, or you have something to back up saying that, you saw this because you paid your bill, that type of thing, instead of flyers or things like that around town are harder for people to get to and see. And I know, like Heather said, it is bad practice to go back on these policies, but I think there are better rate structures for these things. Colorado Rural Water Association came in and did a rate study for me at one point, and helped with we had a tiered structure that hadn't been adjusted for years. They came in, looked at our structure and liked it, but it needed increase. So we went through a long process of increasing slowly year to year. 1 year we had to do 2 increases to get healthy. And then we implemented some increases on our tap sales as well for new taps. So that's something else that you might consider for capital improvements or wastewater plant type stuff. So everything else that has been said. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Brandon.
And Brandon, just so you know, our water and sewer taps are increased every year automatically.
I think from what I remember, they're fairly cheap compared to some though.
Yeah, and some people think they're pretty high. So,
Yeah.
it's a catch-22. Next one is Danny Pierce.
Thank you for listening to us tonight. Most of you probably don't know me. I'm not political. You'll never see me here, but you probably know my house. We live in the house on the corner by the dog park. So we've been here since about 2006. We built the house. We take a lot of pride in it. I have a green lawn. And so every year, when we first started, and I use the same amount every year. We have a sprinkler system and it's timed. So I use the same amount of water every year. And it's gone up from a couple $100, $300, $400. So our first bill this year was $690. And I thought, well, you're just catching up. Sometimes the first bill is a real big one because you're catching up on use in a prior month. And I thought, okay, that's cool. The bill I got this month is $4 short of $700. And like everyone else here has so eloquently stated, it's the sewer. I don't mind paying for the water. I want a nice yard. We're proud of Mancos. We want to be good neighbors. I can't afford $700 a month. And I think if you've been to other mountain towns, anywhere, Breckenridge, Uray, Dolores, they all have something that we don't have, and it's charm. They have green grass, they have flowers. Our policies discourage that kind of thing. If you go down Grand is probably the best. It's like maybe half and half grass, half weeds. If you go down Riverside, my street, it's all weeds. Nobody has a yard. It's really awful looking. And I realize I'm probably the one screwing up my neighborhood. We have green grass. Maybe we should just grow weeds. I don't know. But these policies discourage gardening, horticulture, and it's just not fair. Many people have stated it. The water doesn't go in the sewer. You've set this rate when everybody's watering, gardening, trying to be out making things pretty, and it's just going to kill everybody. And I would really ask you to reconsider that. I know you have a big job figuring out how to pay for things, but there's got to be a better way than tying sewer rate to water usage. There's no correlation at all. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, the next one on the list is Ruben, and I think he left.
Yes.
Okay. So next is Regina Roberts.
Regina Roberts, 601 Grand Avenue. So before I say what I have to say, I have a couple of questions. One, are we maxing out our sewer plant already? Because I know we overbuilt it when we redid it. So is that the problem? Two, how are we making the payment that's been due every year on that prior to now, and why are we coming up so short now? That doesn't make sense. Sorry, bookkeeper. That doesn't make sense to me. How come we were able to make it and now we can't? Three, if we're going to have an increase on the sewer rates, can the town please readdress allowing the community members to use a gray water system? I have no problems putting that onto my garden or anywhere other part of my yard. Now, some of you guys know I'm at the four-way stop sign. I'm the crazy lady with the raised beds that actually have vintage and antique headboards and footboards. I have been building that up for several years now. I'm quite proud of it. I love it when somebody will see me and they're like, "Oh, you live in Mancos?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the one with the raised beds." And that's what they were like, "Oh, wow, that's so cool." I'm not going to tear my beds down. That's how I have started feeding my family, is with my fruit or my vegetables out of there. All of those beds, all of the raised beds are edible stuff. And I'm slowly working on having nothing but edible. Well, okay, I'm still going to have that one row, the willow side of the house will constantly have flowers. I'm slowly putting lilies of every kind in there because I have a granddaughter named Lily. And she thinks it's cool that her grandma is honoring her with those plants. So outside of that, yeah, I'm going for the edible. I want to add a couple more trees. We have apple trees currently. We use those apples for hard cider. I make applesauce out of them, and the pulp from the cider, I turn around and make apple bread. Now, it's not just feeding my family. I trade with a lot of my neighbors. I give the food to them. Just like when we go hunting, I give out meat. Because to me, that's part of this community. And I've lived here almost 20 years. My husband and I just celebrated 19 years in our house. I don't want to go back to having a crap yard. I'm working hard on it. I've got a custom-built fence from my husband. He's cutting the lumber, he's harvesting the trees, the whole 9 yards. Because I want it to look good. Now, I do have to compete with my neighbor across the road who's got a really good yard, and a couple doors down who's got a really green yard, and I want to go walk in it because they have grass and I don't. But, you know, the point is that I have no problem paying the water bill. I actually start increasing the amount I pay to the town in like March and April because I plan on using more water and I'd rather the town owe me money. So I have no problems paying that. Now, I have family in Rio Rancho. Rio Rancho has a really cool system set up, and I will give you guys I'll give Heather the paperwork. And I know Heather did it and compared it with other towns our size, and Rio Rancho's 100,000 people, but they base theirs off of what they call the winter quarter average, December, January, February. Because in Rio Rancho, they're not irrigating their yards and their gardens at that time frame. So I have no problem paying for my water, but in those months, I took a look at it just because I was wondering. So for December, January, and February, I totaled 5,750 gallons of water for 3 months. If you guys want to charge me over it, I want to bank my 5,000 or my 5,000 gallons that I build up during the winter months so I can water my garden. A few years ago, this board was giving out awards for people in town who kept a really nice looking yard to encourage people. Yeah, to encourage people around here to do it. That takes water. And I know we have a water shortage. I also have a 250 gallon, I don't know, maybe one of the guys that...
30 seconds.
All right. Sitting out there. The reason for that is so that I always have water that I can put into my garden. When you guys over-chlorinate, last year you did that and killed half my garden, and so that when we have really hot days, because I do try to honor that every other day watering, that I can still water my plants if I need to. I also have 2 large cow troughs with fish in them, because I hand water, because my plants like fish poo water. So I will drop this off with Heather so that she's got it. I have it figured out. If we went to this type system, I know I'm sorry. If we went to this type system, we will more than cover the bills by doing it, by charging the people who actually are putting more sewer in, charging them.
Stop you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Madeline Williams.
My name's Madeline Williams. I live at 681 West Grand. Have you located typos in this document? Or is this ready to, are you putting this into action the way it is? Because these stories about $500 and $700 bills, I don't see how they could reach that amount given the way this is worded. So most of us are residential people here. So we'll say that's like $41 for water and $38 for sewer in round figures per month if you use 6,000 gallons. Now, if you go over 6,000, if you're between 6,000 and 8,000, it says you're going to pay $2 more per 1,000 gallons. So if you're using 8,000 gallons a month, you're going to pay $44 for water and $41 for sewer. Now, how's that going to get to these amounts that these people are talking about if you're only raising it $2 for 1,000 gallons?
They're probably
They use more than that.
They use more than 8,000 gallons.
If you go to the next page, it'll show you that they're in high usage of some residential.
Yeah, there's some residences that use 100,000 gallons.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, then, the only actual typo, I guess, is someone it copied paragraph 2 down to paragraph 3 and made the same mistake there. But one of them has $2 per gallon instead of $2 per 1,000 gallons. The second line, the third line down. 8 to 10,000 gallons is $4 per gallon.
It goes up. It's a sliding scale. The more
Yeah,
you use,
but
the more
it
you
says per gallon, the others say per 1,000.
Right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying.
Right.
Thank you, that is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next person to speak would be Danny Mancos.
I'll wait as I feel like lots of stuff.
Okay. The next one then is Dick Pictor. And Dick, before you start, Justin, would you check and see if anybody else came in and signed in?
I have.
Okay, there's nobody else? Right.
Nobody wanted to sign up, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. RJ Dick Pictor, 600 West Grand Avenue here in Mancos. When I first moved to Mancos, my water and sewer bill was $9 a month. I've lived here almost long enough to be considered a local. On a yearly basis, firstly, I just want to reiterate everything that most of these people have already said, that sewer rates are the same year-round. So charging more during the summer for water going onto the ground for, like I said, gardens and for civic improvement seems quite irrational. In just 10 or 12 years ago, during our recession, the town of Mancos was looking a little shabby. Fortunately, we've had a lot of people moving in the area, buying older homes, fixing them up, which attracts more people to our community. And by denying them the ability to keep their property looking in nice condition, it's just detrimental to what our overall goals of advancement for our community. Again, I really don't have all that much to say other than what everybody else has said about our sewer rates should be, I think, stable year-round, because most people's water usage is stable year-round except for what's going on to their property. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Okay, the next one to sign up is Mary Wilson.
Mary Wilson, 277 East First. I don't have anything new or revolutionary to say. Basically, the idea of charging us more for summer water when we have a shortage is good. I understand that. But I get no sense whatsoever thinking that the sewer rate's going to be tied into that. Like everybody says, it's going into the ground. It's watering trees, flowers, shrubs, whatever. I haven't watered in my front this whole year. It looks like a weed patch. People driving down the street might think there's nobody living there, because I don't want to have a water bill that I can't afford and figure it's going to be doubled because you're raising sewer rates in the same ratio. So I think it should be reconsidered. If you need money for sewer, tell us. Put it as a bill for sewer, not because we have extra use of water. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to speak out.
Thank you.
The next one to speak is R.J. McKay.
R.J. McKay, live on 336 Bower. Pretty much everything I wanted to say has been said. I think it would have a negative overall effect if people stop watering, if the yards go to pot and trees die. Also, grass kind of holds in moisture in the ground. Insects, birds, all live off of that. But same thing, I think it should be based off of winter rates or winter quarter, has been mentioned. And I thank everybody else's comments here on that. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next one to speak is Terry McKay.
Oh, no, I didn't. No, thank you, I'm
Okay. Okay, the next one is Ann Coker.
Nope.
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 Still doesn't want to talk.
Kathy? Okay. The next one is Kathy Siebert. Do you want to speak? Okay.
They've said pretty much what I would say.
All right, before I close this out, is there anybody else that would like to speak real fast?
Yeah.
Don't forget your name and address, please.
My name's Kurt Grimes, 625 Grand Avenue. I had already come to 2 meetings earlier and brought this up, so it's not a surprise, right? That the people, no one was here when I came 2 months ago, 0.
Yeah.
But the only thing I wanted to say out of everything I heard was, it's all true about the watering outside. But Durango, when I looked at a lady's water bill there, she uses no water. 2,000 gallons, they have a $16 base charge. And then they charge you every 1,000. They don't give you 6 or 8 or 2. So they start with 16. She had used 2,000 gallons. And so they charged her $4 per 1,000. So it was $8 plus 16. What's that? $28, 26 bucks. But they on her sewer part of the bill, it was $14 base charge. Have you looked at the Durango bill? Now they're afraid to get sued in Durango. There's people with money there. And they won't allow it to just go, double up the water, usage like this. That would never go down. So in their sewer thing, it was $14, and they had that she had used 1,000 gallons in the sewer out of 2. The other 1,000, she had kept her 4 trees alive outside. It was all brown except green spots around her 4 trees. And I said, wow, Karen, they know how much sewer you used. And you guys all said it's impossible. How do they know?
We called Durango.
What are they doing?
Meter their sewer.
They what?
They don't meter their sewer.
So they do it mathematically.
They guesstimate.
They guesstimate. So maybe that's an option to look at too, because I know that the car wash, it all goes in the sewer, right? The P&D grocery, and so things like that have to be in account. And I'd rather see the sewer rate go up at a monthly level than to hit us like this. This is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. 500, 600, 350 twice, in 4 weeks. It's too much money, so I just wanted to say, you guys have to change it, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to bring it back to the board, and so, thank you all for coming and voicing your opinions and your concerns.
Quiet, please.
Yes.
We've got a meeting going on.
Kirk, please.
Kirk, we've got a meeting going on.
Thank you.
So I will, and I'm going to start with you. Do you have some comments or some questions or?
Well, you know, it's obvious that the method that we're using is not conducive to the desires of the community. I know that other communities have dealt with this in different ways. I know, for example, Cortez Sanitation District did bill in this manner and ceased it several years ago because of exactly this issue, the water rate. Their issue at that time was, you know, people have the same exact argument as what these people have, is that, you know, we basically use the sewer system equally year round. It's our water that we impact at different times. Obviously, summer is a higher use than winter. Cortez Sanitation District at that time, you know, I know this personally because I had property there. They opted to change the rate structure to a flat rate year round based on, you know, the need to continue to make their bond and repayment structure. So it was a situation where we had a low bill in the winter, we had a high bill in the summer, and it fluctuated all the time. I liked the fact that they changed it to that year round. It was higher than my winter month, but it was lower than my summer month, but it was the same consistent because basically we use the sewer in a consistent manner. You know, I think that everyone's points here are very valid. I think that, you know, it's obvious that we do need to address the cost of our obligations.
Right.
That is first and foremost. Whether it's going to be X dollars, Y dollars, whatever, that is because we can't lower the rate to a point where we go bankrupt in the sewer and we can't offer super. We tell everybody you can't poop anymore. Sorry, we can't do it. So you know, there's a balance here that we have to come up with, and we have to make it fair and equitable to the people. But at the same time, we have to meet the obligations of our bond repayment and our loan repayments for past and even future, because the sewer is an enterprise fund, and people who don't know what enterprise funds are, it is supposed to be a self-sustaining, self-generating repayment business. It basically, enterprise funds are to be more of a business type scenario. And in order to do that, they're supposed to be able to collect the money, enough money, in the process of their billing cycles to not only sustain their existence, but to help pay for future costs. So it's a twofold thing. So in that scenario, we have to look at both sides of that. We can't say we're going to charge you guys all $30 and go bankrupt. That obviously no one wants that, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? It's just not going to happen. So obviously the municipality has to take that responsibility and hold that responsibility in perpetuity. So we, as a board, have to look at our cost for maintenance, repair, standard operations, and we have to be able to meet our bond repayments, our loan obligations, and we also have to, at the same time, which is the most difficult part, is look at how we are going to create revenue to pay these things. Now, one person made mention of how we've been able to pay it when we didn't. We've had to take money out of our reserves, which is that pool that we use for future costs and for leveraging against grants and stuff. We've had to use some of that to maintain, and that's why it's saying that we're not making, you know, in our audit it said we're not making in our standard billing enough to make that happen. And that's why this board came up with something that obviously isn't comfortable for everyone, and we'll need to address it, you know, some way or another. That's it.
So I was going to ask Heather to answer Gina's questions. So Did that answer your questions?
Not really, because, sorry, not really, because I do check our budgets frequently. I used to be on the board, I've done the planning and zoning, I'm familiar with this stuff. But our sewer bill, yes, it has not gone up in a couple of years. So, but our new sewer plant was put in many years ago, and I seem to recall them going to the community and saying, put more stuff down, we've overbuilt it. Alright? If we were able to make the repayments then, why can't, I mean, what has changed so much? Has our payments gone up? Or
Our costs.
or what? And how come I mean, yeah, we had covered the last 2 years, but we should have still addressed stuff, so we're not looking at it now.
Well, and that, so a couple of things, operating costs obviously have increased, but the debt company, the audit that they did was from 2020, so we had increased rates in 2 years. So that's why we're not meeting our obligation. So the information that.
Wait a minute.
The information
Who's talking?
in 2022 is for 2020. So that's the information in the staff report. In 2022, I was advised that in 2020, we should have collected an additional $85,000.
Okay.
2020 is one of the years that we did not increase our rates.
So our audits showing that is 2 years behind. So I'm sorry, I personally, I think that is an issue that we need to address so that we get the information in a more timely manner.
Well, that's the state, so they, I don't know, tell them where to send the information, they just send it to me when they get it done. This is the first time that we've ever received that letter, which is, in my opinion, that's amazing, because we've had the debt since, well, before I started here. So it's been awesome since then. It was, the last couple of years of COVID have put us behind. And then just the same as everybody else, the town is seeing those same increases in materials, and we're seeing those same increases in operating costs. So we need to start planning for those. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? So what the projects that we want to do next year, we have to be able to.
I think so. One of the things that would be easier to accept regarding a huge increase in our bill is you look at it, if your guys' costs go up 10%, I think we'd be happy going, yeah, increase our base rate 10% so that we can do it. It's just when we're used to a $37 bill for sewer, and then we have a $150 bill on sewer.
I don't understand.
Hold on.
Wait. You guys have had your chance to talk. We were answering Gina's questions. This is back up to the board right now. We may answer your questions as we go along, but we're going to wait. I'm going to have my board speak first. We gave you guys a chance to speak, so we need to do our speaking. So Betsy, do you want to talk next?
Not really. No, I'm just thinking, I'm glad we did this. I was one of the people that said we ought to revisit it because we were beginning to get some feedback. And I'm really appreciative that all these people turned out and gave us their points of view. And I think we should revisit it in terms of the sewer rate. And I think we have to make sure that we're meeting our obligations in terms of the bond and planning for the future. But I think, bottom line, what I hear the most being said is that it should not be tied to the water rates. And we could have another workshop. We have so much information now that I think we could revisit it pretty easily. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, and one of the concerns is we don't have to make a decision tonight.
Right.
We do have a lot of information. That doesn't help you guys with your next water bill if we don't make a decision tonight, because it's not going to change until we have another workshop and then have a meeting and a resolution. So that, just so you guys be aware of that even if we do make a decision tonight, that resolution is not going to go into effect until probably the end of July, so it's still going to affect your July bill. So things don't happen, at the snap of a finger, because there are rules and regulations and policies and procedures that we have to go through with resolutions and that with the state. So there is an awful lot of information. We were given some, those of you that have looked at our packet, if you took the time to go on the website and look at the packet, Heather has given us some different options that we can do. We can increase she's given us 4 options, and I'll just read these. And then these are not all the options. These are just 4 that she's given us. One is a monthly base sewer rate that needs to be at least $65 a month to meet our existing obligations, cover annual operating expenses, and to be able to put aside a small amount each month in order to plan for capital improvements in the sewer fund. Number 2 is another option is to increase the residential base rate to $60 a month and the commercial base rate to $70 per month. Number 3 is a base sewer rate of $60 per month across all users with a flat overage fee if usage exceeds 6,000 gallons per month. And number 4 is a base sewer rate of $50 per month for residential and a base sewer rate of $50 per month for commercial, with the current overage rate structure left in place for the commercial. So those are just some of the options that we've been given that we can kind of throw around and talk about. So I am going to let some of the other board members speak, and I did have a question, because it does say on number 1 you would be to raise it to $65 a month with no overage. On number 1, did you have any overage on number 1?
No overage.
Okay.
$65 across the board for every user regardless of type.
Okay. And on number 2, was there any overage on that one?
No overage.
Okay.
50 for residential, 60 for commercial, and then the board's gonna have to figure out those other rate structures that we have with schools and churches and stuff.
Okay.
The majority of users are residential or commercial, so that's where I focused my recommendations to you all. And these are just to get your conversation started, so there's no options.
Okay. Okay. Janice.
Thank you. I really appreciate everybody being here. This is great. We've been talking about this and nobody showed up, we kept talking and talking, and every time that we post an agenda, we can only talk about what's on here by law. We don't talk about anything else. So if you just take just a few minutes to go on the town website, you'll see what we're going to talk about. So with that being said, I'm just grateful that you're all here. I loved all the comments, and I really think we need to revisit this, and we can maybe make this a little more. As you can see, you guys got more information now too, and I'm totally okay with revisiting and how we're going to do this. But I want you guys to keep coming and keep in, because the town doesn't work if we all don't participate. You can leave all those decisions to us here, but look what you got, and you're like, so it really is like, I know all the hoopla and all the voices out there going on, but what's happening in this town, this is the sexy part. This is the good stuff, what we do in this town, and we need your participation. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at all this going, oh yeah, we'll do this, okay, but now it's like, we're not doing this because this isn't what you people want, and that's the only way that we're going to know what you want is if and you don't have to come to the meeting. We've got emails on the town site. You can email each one of us, or you can email staff. It's not just, it only works if all of us are doing this. So after that, I'm sorry to go on, but I'm willing to revisit this and look at some of these options that Heather gave us are awesome. And maybe it is, a flat rate. When we did that CPI, that came out to about $50. That was like, that was 3.1% for that CPI. So, maybe that's what we're going to need to, maybe that's an option to just flat fee, everybody's rates go up.
Okay, let me ask a question, again. Do we really want to get into this tonight, discuss this tonight, or we want to do another workshop and bring back some of this? Nick, what do you think?
I vote for a workshop on that particular question. In terms of the bigger picture, I really do appreciate all of you coming. Everything Jimmy said. Yes, please come more often and email us and let us know what you're thinking, because we're here representing you, but we're only 5, 6, 7 people at any given moment. So, but in terms of the conversation, it's really clear to me that we collectively are responsible to shoulder the burden of the cost, and we all use the sewer in this town. We do know how much the town needs in order to make that work. And yet, I can see that there's a missing element of fairness and transparency around how that is occurring. And, I see that we do need to revisit it. I absolutely feel strongly about that. And I love the arguments that are coming out around keeping the town beautiful, around watering gardens, food, sharing with others. I mean, there's a lot of really strong values that are emerging in this conversation. And it behooves us to pay attention to those and encourage those and promote those. So yeah, I feel very strongly about that. And then, making sure that everybody feels that it's fair, that we're meeting our obligations while also taking care of each other. So it's pretty black and white for me. I feel like we need to revisit it, but I don't know that now is the moment. I think we do need the workshop.
Cindy.
So many things running through my head. But I'm from Michigan. I got here as quick as I can. I'm not a local. So I know green, right? When I moved to Southwest Colorado in 1992, I knew I had to xeriscape and use native plants and use mulch instead of Bermuda grass or Kentucky bluegrass or things like that. So there are things that we can do to still have a beautiful town that makes sense in Southwest Colorado, which in 20 years is going to be like Phoenix is now, temperature-wise. So there's things that we can do to make it better. Janice was so passionate. It was awesome. Yes, thank you all for coming. We had 9 meetings last year. We want participation, preferably before we make decisions. We don't want to make bad decisions. We have a lot of transparency on the board. Like Janice mentioned, our agendas are out there. We don't do shady things like talking about things that aren't on the agenda. We put it out there, and we are extremely transparent. So do understand that what goes on here impacts you. And we know that, and we try to be really good stewards. But we had a shortfall. We're having shortfalls. And so we can't just raise water rates because they're 2 different funds. Government, everything is portioned out, and there's funds for this and funds for that. We can't mix them. So it becomes really problematic trying to get the money in the right place from the right place. So, just take a look at your yards, see what you can do, maybe lessen the amount of green, maybe do something else that's creative, and look at those agendas. And like Ginny said, come, we get lonely. We've got 2 ladies here, raise your hands. They're at every meeting. They come and they pay attention and they know what's going on in town. And if you have questions, especially budget questions, government budgets are weird. Ask Heather, ask Jamie. They've got the information. So anyway, off my soapbox. I would like to discuss this, but I don't think now, but watch the agendas and come when we do discuss.
And I want to add a piece of information. I'm a little scared with all these people in the room who are saying just increase the base rate, so but that was one of the options that we discussed. And the concern at the time was our elderly residents who are on fixed incomes, who are not using,
Yeah.
they're not watering their lawns, they're not, because once it goes through the meter, the town has no way of knowing what is done with it.
Right.
So when you have this discussion, please again, that was one of the reasons that we didn't change the base gallons and the base rate, because that was a concern as well.
Right.
Which goes back to kind of the information on little villages and our aging population and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
and to keep that in mind when you're moving forward, that was also a topic of discussion at those previous meetings.
Yeah, because it could double
Yeah.
a fixed income person's bill.
And again, you can do whatever you want. 65. I just wanted to let you know that was one of the topics that was discussed.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. But we do need to look at being able to pay for our sewer. And I hope you guys all understand that there are expenses that have to go along with having that sewer plan. I do appreciate everybody. I lived in a big Victorian home with an acre of land, and at that time my son kept that yard green and pretty, and my water bill was anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month because that acre of land was green. Then I moved into a little area, and we don't have a big water bill right now except in the summer for 2 months because I have a swimming pool in my backyard because I got grandkids. And so my yard's been tore up, but I got the pool, so my water bill was high. And my sewer bill was high because they anticipated that water going into the ground, and it's not. It's in the pool and being splashed out and evaporating. But the kids are happy, and that's the main thing. So I do feel like it's a census of the board that we need to have another workshop with this. The community is always invited to our workshops. We don't listen to comments at our workshops, but we will listen to what you guys have to say before our workshops. If you send the information that you want us to know to Heather or to me as the mayor, and then I forward it on to Heather. My emails are on the website. It's qbars@mancoscolorado.com. But do we have anything on our agenda, on our workshop for the next meeting?
We're supposed to start budget discussions?
Well, this will be part of it.
This is part of the budget.
It's right in, that's right. So what I'm thinking is if you want the sewer discussion at a workshop, I will make that the workshop. And what I'm gonna do is the workshop for July 27th was supposed to be the 2023 capital project discussion. And then we wanted to talk about yard waste and town cleanup discussion. But I think what I'll do, this year, town cleanup will just remain as is. And I'm gonna move that to like a winter discussion because we have some time. And then the 2023 project discussion, I will put as an actual agenda item. Or I can put the sewer discussion as an agenda item. You guys can have discussions and not take action even if it's on the agenda. So
I think we need a workshop, so then we're ready to make a resolution. Because if we wait to discuss it, then we're just putting it off. It'll be September before we even come up with a solution or something. I do like the fact that we discuss utility rates and tap fees beginning in July of each year. And we adopt a resolution in December. Our debt obligations and financials are audited in May or June. And so maybe we ought to talk about changing utility rates in June or July of each year. Start that discussion earlier, not later. I think that's something that we need to do, and that's probably why we need to have this workshop on these rates at our next meeting, which will be July 23rd.
Yeah.
If 27th.
If I may, talk about some of the ideas that people have tonight. Heather, when we do have it, because I will lose this piece of paper. So the suggestions that I pulled out of what the folks were saying tonight is one, the desire to uncouple the sewer rates from the water rates. Explore the idea of a gray water system, usage, whatever. And I have no idea about health code and all that jazz, but I know it's a thing. And then the idea of establishing like a winter averages kind of thing. And I know for years and years and years, Georgette did a bunch of calculations by hand. I know the town's too big for us to do that anymore. But maybe also let us know what the system that we use can do. Give us some ideas on, how that can apply.
Well, I'm gonna say, I know Terry's not here, and he's, okay, so I'm gonna put your.
Oh, he's totally just like go.
He's totally.
He's very adept at that.
So there is nothing to water or to meter sewer.
Right.
This is gonna be a little disgusting. Water goes through the meter and it's fine.
Yeah.
Sewer is solid, some of it's solid, so there's nothing to meter sewer at the residence.
Right.
There, what Terry is looking at, we've been looking at for the last couple of weeks, and we're trying to reach out to this company to have a meeting. There are smart meters out there that can supposedly, this is what I want to check out.
New technology.
Yeah, when we look on their website, they show us this beautiful thing that says, oh, well, this residence used this much in their toilet, they use this much in their dishwasher, they use this much watering their lawn, they use this much taking a shower.
Sounds too good to be true.
Well,
Yeah.
that's fine, but apparently it is new technology. It also, I want to know how that works.
Yeah.
I don't aspire.
Alexa, how many times did I flush my toilet?
Well, that's why I want information from this company. How
Yeah.
do they collect this information? If there's an industry,
Hunter,
so I don't know if you've even heard of these, but if there's an industry standard that says, well, this family of four is flushing their toilet this many times, that's one way. But how on earth is this type, I don't want that in my house to tell me what I'm doing anyway. So, and Terry's not here, but, so we have been trying to get with these companies to have these, Zoom meetings and conference calls and explain to me, how does the technology work? How are the brains calculating this? If we can get them back to us, I will bring them to the next workshop. I do not know though if that's a short-term, immediate solution to this.
Yeah.
That's gonna be, yeah, well,
Sounds like it's
it's gonna be something we're gonna need to get grant money for and upgrade the entire system, but.
Won't be cheap.
Technology is advancing, and so we're trying to do our research, but I honestly have some hesitations.
Yeah.
Just to see how, so if we can get that together, we'll bring it to you.
I just have a question about, do we very often get requests for new water taps? Is that a very
It's based on
development? So we really don't get a lot
No, we don't generally get more than $20,000 in revenue
from new
in
taps.
either water or sewer. I believe our current tap rate's 59 and change.
And we already have people complaining that they're too much.
I do hear a ton of pushback, but developers are good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
That's their
MO.
So they absorb that, right?
Well, whoever, private person building, they gotta absorb it.
So I
Whoever puts it in.
will do that as far as what can our software do?
Yeah.
And if we can get that meter information together, I'm skeptical. So we'll continue to do our research.
So,
Yeah.
ideally, everybody needs to know also that you can collect rainwater. They passed a bill, and, before we couldn't do that, that was against the law. And now you can collect rainwater, and we are having some rain. Let's use that and try to offset some of our water in our lawns and things, because we couldn't do that previously and do it legally. And again, with us having to discuss this and do resolutions and everything, this is not going to be a fast fix, guys. It's not going to fix it this summer. And so I know you'd like us to twitch our nose and it would be done tomorrow, but it can't be.
Queenie, can I ask you one thing? Touchy subject. I just paid my water bill overage and my water base charge last month. I think it was 198, and they wanted the same 198 in the sewer, but I didn't pay it. I just paid my basic sewer rate. So I owe that, supposedly owe that extra $175 there, and that's carried to the next month. And so isn't there an immediate thing that could happen to just squash this thing so that we can get through the summer without $600 bills for the next 6 months? 400, 300, 280. I mean, we know everything takes time, but once in a while, America seems to be in an emergency situation with gas, food, it's insanity. Is there anything you guys could step up and do to stop it right now? I don't know if it's a computer problem for the billing that could be redone and just give us the basic sewer price for the rest of the summer and stop with this doubling of the people that garden like this fellow over here. Something has to happen, and same with the whole country. A little more immediate than just we'll wait till the next election or we'll wait till the next, seminar. You know what I mean?
Heather, could you explain the process?
I realize it's a resolution, but I think there's processes that you must have in a glitch where you can shift something.
Not when it comes to tax dollars or fees for service. The board has to actually have a resolution. Staff, and even the board, one of them came to me and said, I want you to waive all the overages. I can't do that as legal because there's a resolution in place.
Who makes it not illegal? How does it become not illegal?
We need a resolution of the board.
Okay.
So I can't do anything like with your past bill.
Yeah.
So
it's already on my next one.
Well, I was just going to say, everybody's utility bills, individual utility bills are confidential. You've already outed yourself at the meeting. So you are required to pay that bill, and our code, our municipal code, has a process that we will follow when bills are not paid.
Right.
We don't get to not follow that process if we don't like it.
No, I got it.
So we're going to follow that process.
So there's nothing you can do about it this summer. We'll be paying.
I can't. Well, especially the things that are
what Cindy says. There's some of my friends that only use a couple thousand gallons of water.
Yeah.
And they'll say, why do I have to pay? I don't use the service. So when you have 4 different options, add a 5th one in that helps people that are not using water, and let them pay for that amount. Like Durango does. They know exactly what's going on.
Well, and another thing.
You should be able to figure out the sewer usage the way they do in Durango with the computer.
They do.
You look at the prices.
Hey, just a minute.
Hold on.
You haven't been recognized. And also remember that the town is also paying that overage. The town is watering Royal Park, and if they go, and they're going over.
Yeah.
Way over. They're also paying that overage in the sewer. It costs the town
As
also.
each one of us board members are.
Each one of us board members are
We're
going
no
over on
different.
that. We're no different than each one of you. So it is hitting all of us in the pocketbook. So it's not just you guys. We understand that. And it is going to hit us again this month and next month, because this does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. We wish we could do it, but it just does not. So
okay.
You were not here when we signed up to speak. Do you want to say something real fast? You want to come up to the podium, please?
Yes.
And state your name and address.
No, Matt.
No, Matt.
Matt, please.
Matt, she's been here.
So I guess
Wait a minute, wait, you get to the podium, give your name and address for the
my
record.
name is Matt Lauer. My address is 869 2nd Avenue.
Go ahead.
So I guess my concern is that when you say this doesn't happen at the snap of a finger, according to my water bills, it does. My water bill for the coffee shop more than doubled in a month with very little extra usage. I can show you my receipts. I went from $100 to $344 in a month. And if somebody can make sense of the numbers here, I greatly appreciate it. That's all I can say. So if it doesn't happen at a snap of a finger, that's not what my water bill shows.
So, no, let me answer this.
okay.
Let me answer this, please. Because we went 8 months having meetings to discuss this. And it was published on our website, on our agendas, on our workshops. You had 8 months. We had 9 meetings discussing this. And then we made a resolution in January. And then it increased because your sewer rate went up, because your water usage is related to your sewer usage. That's why your water bill increased. That's why the whole bill increased. Because maybe you use the same amount of water, but now we're billing you for that water along with your sewer, because that water has to go into the sewer. Now, these people's water is not going in, a lot of theirs is not going into the sewer because they're watering lawns and things.
No, it actually went onto my walls for stucco, so.
Well, mine went in my swimming pool, and it still cost me the same amount of money. So, I mean.
So, I guess when I look at the town, 2018 was the last time that there was an official rate increase?
In the sewer, yes.
Yes. And as far as the town website goes, I don't see anything beyond that.
It has not been increasing, except we did have 9 meetings last year regarding this, talking about, well, how we were going to pay our operating costs at the sewer plant.
Okay.
Okay? And everybody had an opportunity to come and visit with us. Nobody showed up. We made a decision. We had a resolution. And now to change that resolution, we can't just change it tonight, because it has to be a discussion and a vote on what we're going to do. And then the resolution would be brought back to us next month or down the road, and then that would be voted on, the resolution.
So do you not think it would be fair to, okay, so nobody shows up to the meetings. You make a resolution. Would it not be fair to send out a notice to those who don't attend meetings? That actually you're...
Well, it's personal.
Yeah, it is a personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility is,
member
I understand that as a democratic process.
Because it is our responsibility
But-
to be at our meetings. Was it on our water bill?
Okay, I'm your moment. I did not put it on the water bill.
Thank you.
It was on the website, it's on YouTube, we posted it at the front door. I did everything else. I did not post it on the website.
It's in our minutes.
Yes. When we had the meeting in August, we did post flyers around town. But I didn't put it on the bills. I will start doing that. Historically, feedback that we receive at the front desk is we will only mail bills to property owners. So we received feedback that said, but I'm a renter, so we stopped putting notices on the bills. I will start doing that again, and we will, moving forward, anything related to utilities will go on the bills. So I did not do that in December, but we did put it on the
I don't go to a lot of meetings, but I do pay attention to a lot of the signage around town. And I'm sorry, I just don't remember. Do y'all remember
In the
seeing that?
interest of moving forward,
I'm sorry, but my whole point was that, like, the snap of the fingers. And I understand that, like, government moves at glacial pace. However, when utility bills,
It didn't go up right away because it's been discussed. It had been discussed.
I'm sorry,
for the last
but
9 months, so last 9 meetings, so it
It's-
didn't just go up.
it did.
No.
Yeah, it did. It did just go up. So, I mean, I understand that, like, from your perspective, maybe not so, but if you look at my water bill, it kind of did. And it kind of, I mean, I use no more at my home in excess of what I did at my coffee shop, and my coffee shop went up exponentially. My house did not go up at all.
Maybe you have a leash.
At the coffee shop? No, that's what I'm saying, is like, as far as my usage, it's comparable.
Matt, bring your bill
Like
in. Bring your bill in and let
Okay.
staff look at it, because we can't look at.
I understand that, but I was,
I don't know that we can make a decision tonight to do anything to relieve this. It's just it'll have to be at our workshop at the next meeting.
You can make a decision tonight, you can make a decision at the next meeting. From a resolution perspective, once you make a decision, a resolution will be brought to the following meeting. Because I need to know what to put in the resolution for your guys' review and approval and signature. So, once a decision is made, staff will bring it at the following meeting. Does that make sense?
So we can do the resolution, the first meeting in August.
If you, okay, so if that's
We
the
do the
timeline.
workshop on the 27th.
Yes. Yep, if you do a workshop on the 27th, and make a decision, you can't make a decision, but you can direct me to bring information to the first meeting in August. I can bring a resolution to the first meeting in August for your review. That will become effective with bills that are mailed on September 1st for August usage. And I can make that happen. I can make that timeline happen.
Okay.
Is that agreeable with the board?
Well, just, why are we not gonna discuss it now? Can we just put like the rest of this agenda, can we just like revisit this and we could do this?
could there be a resolution? I understand that nobody wants to make a resolution tonight.
Matt, and your 5 minutes are up. So.
Okay, well, thank you for my acknowledgement.
Thank you. Thank you.
To answer Denise's question, we have to handle item number 7 tonight, the public hearing, because again, it was published in the
That's right,
paper.
okay.
And just as a staff request would be to handle number 8, which is general contractor on call.
Yeah, you need that.
We have some projects that are on hold until we're getting.
Okay.
Everything else I can push to the next agenda. It's up to you, except for 7 and 8.
Okay.
So that would be a decision
Well, what I'm just hearing is that the longer we keep putting this off, the more that it's gonna just keep increasing. So if we could kind of start that discussion, but I understand if you wanna wait for a workshop also.
Ed, how do you feel?
Yeah, just.
Pardon?
How do you feel about
You said Ed, I'm sorry.
Yeah, how do you feel about discussing this tonight, or do you want to wait till the 27th of July?
Well, I mean, there's information that we need. There's information that I think is important. I think, there's nothing, and I hate to bring this up, but I mean, if whatever decisions or whatever we try to do tonight are going to be done in haste. And that's my concern. I would rather do it on the 27th when we have more information for us to deal with and be able to move it into the August 1st with a resolution that brings a consensus of the board based on the information and the feelings of the folks. And something that I would feel more comfortable knowing that what we want to put in resolution is going to be something that's going to work. It's doable, that we don't have to go back to them, at the end of December and say, sorry, we're all wrong, we got to change this because we did this too quickly.
Cindy?
Same as Ed.
Betsy?
I feel exactly the same way. I think there's a couple of bits of information that we should have before we make a decent decision.
Okay.
And in fact, with the timeline that Heather described, we're really going to be able to affect the August bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. By getting the resolution done the 1st of August, so it's effective September 1st for the August usage.
The first meeting in August is August 10th. If you wanted to have a meeting before that,
you could do a special.
So Nick, how do you feel?
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't want to make this decision too quickly. It took 9 meetings to get to a wrong decision. If we try to make a decision tonight, my fear is that we're just going to make a decision and then
We're kicking the can down the
it's going to
road.
have an impact somewhere else, and then we either don't get the money we need, or another percentage of the town is pissed off about this side. So I think we really got to get the next one right as best that we can. And so I feel like trying to do that in this moment is not the right way to go.
All right, so I think the consensus of the board is we do want another workshop with additional information. If you can get it together fast enough, Heather, and
Like I said, the only information, I know you've asked me for gray water, measure averages, smart meters. The only information we may not have is the smart meters. So, but we can work with that.
Long-term.
That's more long
I
term.
don't think we're gonna start the smart meters September 1st anyway.
Right.
So
And-
I will pull together the other two pieces of information, and I will give them to you on July 27th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, okay.
Thank you, everybody, for your
Yeah.
input.
Yeah.
Thank you. You sound like you're going to be very reasonable. When is the next meeting will be?
The next meeting will be July 27th.
Thank you. I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah.
It is the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. Our workshops are at 6. We do not take audience comments at our workshops, but please, if you have comments, send them to us ahead of time, to Heather, and then she can bring them to us at our workshop. And then we start the meetings at 7, and that's when we do the audience business. Or if you notice what's on the agenda and you want to speak, please sign up. We would love to have some input from the community.
You just come handful?
Just come heckle us? Sure. You bet.
Sure.
Thank you.
Again, thank you all
Thank
for coming and your participation. We appreciate it. Okay, moving right along is the Parks and Trails Master Plan draft discussion. Heather.
So I'm gonna start this, and then I don't know if Terry has anything he wants to add. He's been working really hard on this project. And Jamie has also started pitching in on this project. So our consultant has provided, this is rough information for you.
Justin, can you handle the conversation out there in the,
Justin isn't one talking.
okay, but
Justin.
keep it quiet, please.
Oops.
He's riling them up.
So DHM is our hired consultant for this project. They conducted a survey, and I included that survey in here. And then staff has obviously, once the survey went out, people contacted us and talked to Terry, and we talked to some other people. So what we're asking for the board is the information that we have from DHM. We would like you, if you are so inclined, to prioritize the projects. Once you prioritize these projects, we're going to send it back to DHM, and they're going to mock up a rough draft of an actual plan. It'll be like the public version, the pretty version with pictures and colors and all that other good stuff. And then we will hold an additional public meeting on, we're hoping August 23rd. So this will give DHM some time to put it together. And then we'll present that final draft to the public with the Parks and Trails Master Plan. And then once that public feedback is received, if there are any significant changes, it'll come back to you. If there are no significant changes, we'll include them in the plan, and then you will eventually receive that final plan for your review, approval, and adoption. We need an adopted Parks and Trails Master Plan in order to apply for grants with GOCO and with DOLA for things to do in our parks. Our current master plan is from 2012, and it's just too old. Grant agencies don't.
10 years.
We need to update it. So the first piece of information in the packet that I gave you is the actual survey. The second piece of information are the actual by location of the park in Cottonwood Park. And then third, staff, we have reviewed the master plan and we have made some changes. We received some information from the Mancos Trails group. I've included that for you with also my notes on that based on retreat discussions and that kind of stuff. So at this point, it's kind of the ball is in your court. If you don't want to prioritize anything, staff will do that, but understand we are priorities, not yours. So at this point, we're asking you, like in Royal Park, what is the most important item to you? Based on the survey, potentially pickleball courts, based on the survey results that we do. So hoping you guys have a chance to look it over the last week or over the weekend or whatever when you sent it, and you guys have some feedback to us.
Well, the first thing was the money that we budgeted to upgrade the bathroom at Boyle Park for year-round. Are we still considering that?
That is in the budget. It was in the budget this year before we even started the master plan. So we haven't actually spent it. It was 25 for the restrooms, and again, that was last year, so that's probably helpful. And then the concrete to extend our sidewalks.
Yeah, those ADA sidewalks to
Staff hasn't done anything with that, partially because we're waiting for this master plan. What we really should be doing, if there are major upgrades at Royal Park, we should fold them all in at once and we should do one big project so that the park isn't closed to the public 6 times next year.
Got it.
That's number one. Number two, when our insurance company was out doing their safety audit, we mentioned that we were, the board wanted us to retrofit the restrooms. They have some concerns about that. Nothing concrete, nothing where we can cite statute for you, but they do have some concerns about year-round, having the restrooms be open year-round with potential winter issues. So
maybe we could just begin to having them open a little longer or open them earlier or something.
well, they still have to be insulated because they were built before I started here, so they are not insulated. They weren't meant to be used year-round, so we have to blow off the lines before the freezing temperatures. Otherwise, the lines in the bathroom will burst. So that's why we use the times that we do, and they're different each year, obviously, based on. But we have to be very careful that we're not going to hit freezing temperatures before we blow off the lines, because then there's no insulation anymore.
Yeah.
So right now we're doing a porta potty, basically, in Royal Park, and we even have issues with that. To be honest with you, it gets too strange, so.
So I have a question. What are you really asking us to prioritize? Like if we look at the Boyle Park list.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Are you saying, do we want to move stuff up?
Well, which of these are important to you? So I would like the board's feedback on, actually the pickleball courts are really important. We want to make that a priority. And then ADA access to basketball. I'm just looking for some feedback from the board as a whole as to, are some of these more important than others? Is there anything on here that you absolutely do not want? Because we need to take that out before we send it back to the council. And is there anything in here that we may have missed? So anything that stands out as super important, what don't we want, and is there anything that we may miss? You don't need to prioritize one for every single one of these, but I do need some feedback from you. And if what you say is all of these are fine and we have nothing, then that's what we'll get back to the agenda.
Well, AstroTurf on the ball field, what's that about, Terry? Is that something?
That's out here.
Is that, would you rather that than keep the grass we have?
Well, AstroTurf is gonna cut down on the water usage. And if we're gonna stay in a water shortage, that would be a smart move. And AstroTurf would be less maintenance.
So you're kind of for this idea?
I mean, we need new sprinkler system out there, we need level, we could use AstroTurf.
That'll also be less weed control this year.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to AstroTurf. One is it is
If
Just a second, Betsy,
would that
Betsy,
also
Betsy, wait just a
have an
minute.
effect on the?
Betsy, wait just a minute, Ed was talking.
I'm sorry.
And then I'll let you, I'm sorry.
with AstroTurf, one of the things, because I've dealt with it over the years in my professions, it has its good and its bad, but like Terry says, we need a new sprinkler system, we need to re-level, we have to re-level with AstroTurf. AstroTurf increases the ambient temperatures, so they have to put a supplemental irrigation system in to make them usable for people on an average day, because they're warmer. They're not, and again, I'm more of an advocate for real turf, but in dealing with people that have it and some of the pros and cons, there's and it has a shorter lifespan than what most people think to be attractive. I mean, I think it has its place, but that's something we really need, and again, that's just, we need to think about all those things. If everyone wants it, and I don't, it's a board decision, but it's one of those
Can I
things.
ask you, if you seem to know this, what's the supplemental water that has to go along with the AstroTurf?
Generally, what they do is they put a supplemental irrigation system in. It's not as much water, but at times that people want to use it, they end up moistening them down, wetting them down to cool them.
Is it from the,
It's an irrigation system, big sprinklers. You don't see them, but they're there.
Yeah.
They put them down before. Yeah, and it's only because it's dark and it's a heat sink. So, where grass is a cooling effect, AstroTurf has the opposite. And it's not bad, it's a great product in the right places, but understanding there's a whole different set of maintenance. A lot of people think that it's, we just put it in and it's good, it's great, but, as with all things, there's a trade-off. And it's, I think the small park we have up here is perfect for it because it's more manageable. You start throwing it into a big field, it becomes pretty difficult.
So do you need these priorities tonight?
No.
Well.
I think she's
When I
expecting.
contacted the agenda, I wasn't aware that there were other potential agenda items that were gonna take some time. We planned a public meeting for August 23rd. So if we can't answer these tonight, and I couldn't get to July 27th, then I'm gonna push the public meeting forward, and it's still doable.
Backward.
It's still doable, we can do that, but, so it's up to you. If you let me know what you guys want to do, and I will adjust schedules accordingly on Friday.
And the one on Cottonwood here, I think really adding a restroom or porta potty out at Cottonwood is really important too. And with Cottonwood, it's a great dog park. It's fabulous. But it can't be really used then for anything else. Like, you can't put a running track or they wanted to put, all these other things. Dogs are running free out there, that's not gonna happen.
When we've had events.
Yeah, they are. That's what the dog park is.
When we've had events and things there, then the dogs are
Right.
on leash when we have events.
Right, but events is completely different.
But if you had a running.
But if they wanna put in, it's just not the place to put in bike trails and things like that and running trails, because dogs are running free there, and that's what we want. We want this wonderful dog park to run free.
Well, and the reason the discussion, this is past discussion, was this was a designated open space area when it was given to the town. So it's a natural fit for a dog park because it's not groomed, there's no water to the site, there's no sewer to the site, there's no, do you know what I'm saying? So, and dogs can drink out of the river. You know what I mean?
It's good.
So that was the impetus behind making that location a dog park. Because when it was deeded to the town, the wish was for it to remain open space.
Yeah.
We'll correct you on one thing, the town purchased that property, it wasn't given. I was mayor when we bought it.
So instead of donated, I'll just say deeded.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was purchased.
but it was kind of open space.
Yeah, but it was purchased to continue as an open space.
So we do have to kind of, we should be respectful of that original decision, be
Yeah.
careful what we do down there.
Yeah, no, I think what, when they say adding, these other things, it's like, that doesn't go along with keeping it a dog park. That's just a comment.
Back in the day, people wanted to put softball fields back there. That was like, it wasn't gonna work because it wasn't the intent of the purchase.
So at Cottonwood Park, geez, do we want to start there, are you suggesting we remove the stage amphitheater kind of thing, or? I guess I'm just wondering if.
Well, all these river improvements, isn't that what Mancos Conservation District has that whole presentation they brought us? So all these things about access to the river and improving all that, that's already in the works with that organization.
Well, then that's why we need river improvements in the master plan. They've done a phenomenal job of research and design.
Right.
Construction estimates and stuff, so we need those river improvements in this master plan so that we can apply for funding now to make those improvements that they designed.
Okay, so then we work in conjunction with that, okay. Yeah, so leave that all in
So
there.
what we probably want to do then is go to the recommended improvements. So we've got the one for Boyle Park.
Yep.
We've got the one for Cottonwood Park. We've got the one for the skate park. And we've got the one for the Northside Park. So let's just break this down right now and go to the Boyle Park. And
Page, I
Forty-nine.
just see lots of stuff, but not.
so page
like
49.
49 is Boyle Park.
49 is Boyle Park.
I'm tired of scrolling.
Pages aren't there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
Okay.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on there. Let's read them. Upgrade the restroom building to be used year round, and that's budgeted for 2022, but there's some issues. We add ADA pathways to two picnic shelters, that's budgeted for 2022. Regrade, reseed the turf areas and replace the irrigation system. That needs to be put with the AstroTurf, wouldn't it? Maybe those two things, either one or the other?
Isn't AstroTurf like a trademark? So maybe we should just say big grass.
Synthetic turf.
Synthetic turf as a more generic.
Now, once again, we're just, all this on this page is we're gonna present to
The master plan.
the master plan, which then they make pretty and then we take to the public.
Yes, so what I need to know, is there anything on here, I guess the first question for Boyle Park, is there anything on here that you as a board absolutely would want to see happen no matter what? And if not, that's okay, the answer could be no, I mean, it's all going on one.
I think all the ADA stuff,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
completing all the concrete pathways, incorporating ADA. So I think really like the ADA pathways to the picnic shelters, the the bleachers, and then to the basketball court, as well as like picnic shelters and all that. I think that's all one big thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's necessary.
The rest of the board agree with that?
Yeah.
I think all of these things are good.
I'm not real hot on expanding the parking lot.
I was gonna say, the problem with expanding the parking lot, it cuts out on the part of the park.
It cuts out on the park.
Which way are we?
Well, we either take out the playground or we take out all the trees.
I mean,
Yeah, that's the problem with parking lot expansion.
What's being talked about, because it's been talked about for a couple of years, is going, going east from this current parking lot, going east, and it doesn't have to be as wide.
but we took that out. That was a parking lot, that's where everybody camped.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
up
a
there, and
parking
then we put it back in park because we needed the park space. It just,
Yeah.
to me, it just blows my mind is why are we doing away with park space? Like right now, that's where the farmer's market is, that's where Mancos Days, is, that's where the kids play, that's where we slide down the hill. If that's a parking lot, you can't.
That's CDOT, we can't, that's CDOT, that's a CDOT right, so we don't own them.
Right, but again,
Yeah.
I mean, we voted and we put a lot of money into taking out that parking lot there. It just, I don't know, to me, that would be off.
Yeah, that one throws me too.
I don't
Right, that
understand
one's
that.
off.
They just talked about moving it around so people can go. Anyway, if you guys don't want it, we I'll change it, I'll say that.
No.
Fine, it's going.
And, you know, honestly, I'm laughing at pickleball courts. My brother-in-law is obsessed. It's like an addiction. But so I'm laughing at that. But you know, it's a thing, and
it's huge.
It might get people in the park.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that have used the basketball court already. There's pickleball games with basketball. Yeah.
But if you read the survey, so many comments were pickleball courts.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the biggest standout in that survey was pickleball courts.
Now, is there any way, because we've got the horseshoes over there, and if you put the pickleball courts over there, because horseshoes was pretty big on the survey too, could we just not add another court there by the basketball court for pickleball?
Because if you.
'Cause that's where they're playing right now.
Hold on one second,
It's
before
fast.
I'm getting way down into the weeds.
Yeah.
What I need to know is, do you like these projects?
Stick to the
If you
script.
like the projects, then I leave them in here and then we'll
Don't, you take
plan
it
them
out.
later.
And then we
If you
figure
don't
it out.
like the projects, like expanding the parking lot, I'm taking it out. I don't want to
Yeah.
get down to where are we gonna put pickleball?
Right.
Do you like pickleball?
Do you want us to just
Yeah.
go down this list and like kind of say?
That's
yay
what
or
she
nay?
wants you to do. That's all she's asking us to do.
Okay, that seems easy. So ADA, we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Pickleball.
Pickleball, we're gonna leave the turf and reseed and replace the irrigation system.
Or synthetic grass.
Or synthetic grass.
Parking
And
lots
then,
out.
And the playground equipment, over time, I think that needs to be.
That's an evolution.
That's an
It has to
evolution
happen.
thing that has to happen.
So that's it, right? Is there anything on there we missed?
Splash pad?
Splash pad.
keep it on.
They're fun.
Okay.
What is a splash pad? I don't
It's
know.
just
water
water
spray.
spray.
Water gets a
Yeah.
water feature, okay?
Yeah.
But, and it would be
Kids
reusable
play
water.
water feature.
My kid loves water.
It'd be
recycled.
It'd be
So you
recycled
just
water.
stand there and all this water
Maybe a
shoots.
splash pad can cool down the artificial surf.
Well, yeah, right
There you go.
You didn't have to consume yourself on that.
Okay.
Okay.
So Cottonwood Park.
All right.
All right, so.
What do I take off? Let's just say, what do I take off? That seems to be the.
Well, you said there's no water to the site, right?
Or sewer.
So no drinking fountain for dogs and people,
The
that's
restroom
gone.
gets hurt without water.
But,
Porta potty.
The stage and the
can we
amphitheater.
add
It could be,
water?
yeah.
How hard is it to add water to build a restroom?
Well, that's my other thought. So keep in mind that this
Water.
master plan is a 10-year plan. So
Yeah.
just because you guys are looking at
Okay.
this and then you adopt it next month, all of this stuff's not happening next year.
Oh, dang. I'm all for bathroom at the park. It's gonna grow.
I think you need a bathroom there.
But
People pee.
right, but you got the porta potty, at least something there right now, until we
Is
can
there
get
a
water.
porta potty?
There's not right now, but it's on the list to do. But we'd have to run water from the street. We'd have to go across the
Don't worry about
street.
that, we'll figure that part out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's nothing wrong, I would leave everything on.
We'll figure it out.
The only thing I question asking the board is the stage and amphitheater.
Well, we do events there.
I was gonna make a comment on that because, I've worked, concerts out there and I just was at one recently in Durango and everything now is so portable. If we wanted to have a concert there, they just bring in a stage on a flatbed. And it's got the lights and it's a big diesel and they just unfold it and everything's there.
Yeah.
And you can put up a big tent if you want.
And that's
and
kind of what they did on
take
the
it down the
street.
next day and the dogs can run again.
That's the I Am Music Festival. It's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because when I
And-
worked for the city of Durango, it was my job to set their stage up.
And they do that for that beer fest when they have
Yeah.
a beer fest there too. So,
So
okay,
I
so
would
leave that on. I like that idea.
No, I would
Well,
take it
no,
off.
I would
Take
take it
off.
off.
It would be a portable one for events,
We
not
don't need
building one.
permanent.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Non-permanent. I was gonna
Okay.
take it off.
Yeah, so take it off. I got
So
it.
took off the drinking fountain and took off the stage.
Well, I mean, if it's a 10-year plan, and if we're gonna eventually maybe run water for restrooms, we might as well leave
I was
the
gonna say, for building
drinking fountain on for
Oh,
lots
yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
It could just all go to the same place. But, you know, it's not like next year.
Yeah, I agree.
What is succession planting?
Oh, I can tell you.
I'm confused.
Can I?
Yes.
All right, so we have all these old trees and they're eventually, they're gonna die. So we're gonna just start adding trees as these old trees are dying or old plants and stuff are dying. So it's we had the agricultural people from the state came and looked at like all the trees in Boyle and they said, these are really, a lot of these have got to go. So therefore, you need to succession planning, like start putting little trees in as the big ones go.
Well, can we make sure they're native trees so they don't suck up all the water like the cottonwoods?
If this goes into the Parks and Trails master plan, I'm gonna turn this over to tree board.
Yeah, excellent.
And they're gonna do the research and they're gonna make suggestions and then I'll bring it to you guys.
Yeah, so I would just take out the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the theater thing.
Okay, next is the skate park. We
Yeah.
got-
Yeah.
All for it.
Okay?
I mean, there's nothing in there,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Don't say.
Great. Moving on, north side.
And then the Northside Park.
It's a little pocket park.
Staff is really requesting that those sky stairs be the #1 priority in this location.
The what? Sky stairs? What are sky stairs?
If we could get some easements, oh God, Carrie, so you were doing stuff about smart change earlier, so I might have to help you listen to. If we could get some kind of easements, there's these stairs that people, where are the other ones? They run up and down them and they walk up and down them and they run up and they walk down.
Mm-hmm.
They're elsewhere in Colorado and they're hillside stairs. I'm sure you.
And they
Like bleachers.
Where did they take you? You just use it for
You just go
exercise?
up to the top, yeah, that's exactly it.
It's like running bleachers.
That seems really dumb.
But, yeah.
It's good exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if it actually accesses BLM land, fine, but just for running up and down stairs, like buy a 2-story house and knock yourself out.
They have them, yeah, they're just.
Yeah, that's weird.
I like these again.
The problem is the easement from the private landowner because it's gonna dissect his property.
Yeah.
That's the only bad part because BLM is up on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea.
It's like
but-
Riverwalk, keep it in the plan.
Sure, it's a desire.
Yeah.
I suppose, because, you know, in 10 years, change,
I'm sorry?
in 10 years, change owners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be subdivided and become,
Right.
there'll be a spot right there for it.
So I think leave all those in, right? Keep all those for the Northside Park?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we have the other locations,
Yes.
a rec center and a pool. Quinn, you wanna donate your pool? Rec center at Queenie's.
Yeah.
Not right now. I got 3 pools right now.
Actually, the sports complex should be on the northwest side of the property.
This, oh, yeah. I'm not sure we even need community center.
I have a question about the community center. Could you say turn the existing community center into a retail mixed use? And wasn't it given to the town to remain a community center?
When it was given to the town, we either have to keep that location a community center or build another community center in town. That's prime downtown space. So if we can build a community center somewhere else close to downtown, but not in that prime block, then we can turn that into, we can sell that space, use that to build a community center somewhere else. And what we're thinking is, right now, there's a pocket park next to the marshal's office. We could turn that into a community.
Everyone loves that walk.
So, and it doesn't have to happen. This is just, I guess.
Don't you miss us, Craig?
So, we don't have to keep the community center at that location, but if we don't have it there, we must have it somewhere else.
I just wanted to clarify that because I knew there was a clause in
And if you
there.
guys don't like that idea, we can have it.
How about new community / seniors?
/ rec center.
Well, I think a senior center could be the same thing as a community center. The seniors will use it. I don't think we have to have.
Well, yeah, but if they're using it all day, then where's yoga going and dance and?
And if it's near the pickleball courts and splash pad, it's a whole, I like the vision.
Yeah.
So, are you guys okay with these?
Yeah.
Yep, these are great.
I think it's good.
We'll just leave them on there. Yeah.
That'll keep you busy for a while,
10 years.
especially when we add in recreation programs.
Who's running those?
So I do have a question. The River Trail connection, this is on the very back page. You got the River Trail connection east to the airport partial.
Yeah, I think I took that off, didn't
No, it doesn't say remove.
I? Where?
You got trails at the airport property. You got this remove, but the 1, 2,
That should be removed.
okay.
Anything related to trails or airport property should be removed. Well, okay, no, that's my recommendation to you. Let me clarify that, because the Mancos Trails Group wants us to allow them to use the airport property to build out bike trails.
Yeah.
And I'm recommending against that based on our broadband, our plans up there for broadband, a sports complex, gravel pits right in the middle of it. I just think that that's a bad idea now. Nothing says that again, in 10 years or when the county's not gravel climbing there,
Yeah.
that can be revisited. But today, I would recommend that you not allow any outside development or usage of the airport property.
Well,
Yeah.
we've just started developing all of the stuff on the west side of town, on the BLM land by the old dump. I mean, so,
Yeah.
that, continue with that, instead of having all these little tiny, we're gonna start trying to compete with Phil's World.
Well, we've got the whole big
Right.
pass to Mesa Verde,
Well, yeah, that's the next, yeah, exactly.
Okay. I just saw that and it wasn't moving.
So Heather, I'm looking at this real. So whenever you're talking about the airport, you're not talking about the east side going up towards the plateau, but then making it through.
We're talking about the airport property that has the county gravel pit in the middle of it? Yes, that's the property that we're specifically talking about removing from that.
So you being with the Trails Group, this is on our agenda. Do you have any comments that you wanna?
Well, you're talking mostly about parks and stuff like that versus trails, and we just talk briefly about that.
Okay.
I think you probably got the priority of lists from either Don or Robert. Relative to the.
I did. I got this from them, and that's actually what they're talking about. I asked the board to remove anything related to the airport property from the list that I got from your group. This list is from you guys. Yes.
So I think, collectively, we kind of try to prioritize everything based upon the previous plan. And then we're kind of waiting for feedback from you guys and as well as the community survey on. So we'll prioritize stuff with those.
Okay.
I just have a quick question for him, if I may. So a big part of this survey, everyone wanted to know about connecting the trails in town. So, you guys put a lot of work in the school district and, we put all those around. So do people know about that? So, because I'm just really surprised by how many people wanted us to connect trails. And I'm assuming that was in town. Yeah, and I kept thinking, well, we already did that.
Well, yes and no, because we have a lot of private property that we can't go across on the river walk, the river trails.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, but it's.
Right.
Because they haven't given us access to go across their land.
Right,
So you can go to here, then you have to come out to the street, and go down maybe 2 blocks, and then go back to the Riverwalk.
Right.
And until we can get access.
So that's,
That is private.
that's what you think they're referring to.
I think the
Yes.
public perception is that things are not connected, but
Yeah, and they aren't, and
Because they
and they may never be.
And they, yeah, and that they just thought we could connect all that because they didn't, without knowing that that's public land. Okay.
exactly.
Private land, I'm sorry.
Okay, so is that all the information you need, or do you need more?
We're good for right now. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So then we're going to move on to the public hearing about family opt-in and out.
Yes.
So do I,
I don't know if you want to open it up.
why don't you tell us what it is first, and then we'll open it up to a public hearing.
So this is actually, the public hearing was actually for staff. I had to notify staff of the public hearing. I published in the newspaper, I did the same thing for staff that I do for the citizens, and then the staff members actually got an email from me as well. Because this is related to legislation regarding benefits of staff members. So I have received no feedback from staff as far as their opinions. They were invited to come tonight. They received kind of a flyer, a while ago when I noticed the public hearing and stuff. So legislation changed in 2020. This is basically like a state-run leave program. We would, if the board opts in, we would pay into the state's program. And the employees would be required to pay into the state's program. If the board opts out, we will just continue status quo, with the caveat that this is still new legislation. At some point, the state is going to put out requirements, and we will review those requirements and update our personnel manual if necessary. Currently, we provide a pretty robust leave program to our staff. 200 vacation hours, 360 sick hours, they get paid holidays. So our current.
Their sick leave, I was going to ask that, their sick leave, can they use it for a family member, or does it have to be for them?
They can use it for a family member as required by law, and that's stated in our personnel.
Okay, you just said 45 days sick leave, and I just wanted to make sure that they could use it if their child was sick or their wife or something.
Under this existing legislation that is effective next year, they will also be able to use it for everything that's required by the legislation as well.
Okay, but I'm talking about our 44 days or 45 days that they have right now. If we opt out of this, are they allowed to use that for a family member?
If we opt out, it doesn't change our legal requirement when providing benefits to employees. So if we provide sick leave, we must provide what the state requires that they provide. Their dependents, mental health, there's a list of things. The biggest issue here is, do we pay the state and they manage the payments to our employees and the money? Or do we retain the money and we manage it ourselves with our staff? Just because we opt out doesn't mean that the laws surrounding the sick leave change. It's more related to who's managing the dollars versus.
So we're opting out of the money moved to the state and
We
back.
don't get to opt out of the law.
Yeah.
We just get to opt out of who administers the program, basically, is the bottom line.
And if we opt out, we can always opt in.
We can opt in again. And even if the town opts out and chooses not to pay, employees individually can opt in. And then that would supersede us. So, and again, that's strictly a personal decision by an employee, and the town has no recommendation or no advice on that. That's going to be up to the employee to
Okay.
And our payroll system will handle
We actually outsource our payroll, and yes.
Okay.
The thing I read in the CML notes indicated that there are a lot of details that the state hasn't worked out yet.
A ton of details.
And if we opt out now, we can opt in next year.
Correct.
But if we opt in, we can't opt out for 3 years if we don't like it. So kind of my thought was opt out now, let them get all their ducks in a row. And then if it really seems like a better deal, then we could opt in a year.
Well, and even from the time I compile, because I don't compile the information like the Friday that you get the packet, I spend, a couple of weeks compiling information for this packet. Even just in those few weeks, a vote to opt out starting in 2023 should occur by July 1. The state's such a mess that they pushed that vote to December 31.
Oh, wow. Oh, good, I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So, so that's, anyway, it's up to you. I'm recommending, that we opt out by resolution at this time. And the biggest reason that I recommended that is because, again, we can adjust on the fly, we can deal with legislation, we can update policies. But just because we opt out doesn't limit our employees. I may have given you a different recommendation if when we opt out, our employees don't have a choice.
Right.
They still have the choice
Right.
to participate. So that's why I'm recommending that we opt out of this program with this resolution.
So let me open a public hearing, because we have to have a public hearing on this. So I will open the public hearing at 9:40. Anybody want to speak in regards to this?
Is it empty?
It's
Justin,
empty?
you want to speak on it?
Doesn't matter, we're getting taxed enough anyways. Might as well get one more.
So Brandon, do you want to speak?
No.
No? Okay.
Come on,
All right. Then I will close the public hearing at 9:40. Bring it back to the board, and anybody have any other comments, or I would entertain a motion.
I just have a comment. I want to thank David. Your nice letter here was so clear. Like, I got it, and thank you for writing that.
I move we approve Resolution 13, Series 2022, a resolution declining full participation in the Colorado state-run paid family and medical leave insurance program.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson and a second by Trustee Betsy Harrison to approve Resolution 13, Series 2022, a resolution declining full participation in the Colorado State-run paid family and medical leave insurance program. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee McManning.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryan.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Harrison. Sorry, Ed Howell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
It's late for all.
Okay, so moving right along, we have the general contractor on call.
Quick question. Would it become the board if I started cleaning the chairs?
No.
Just be quiet.
No.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it'll get recorded on the YouTube thing.
So this is the general contractor on call that we had talked about. We published the RFP. DNL was our only respondent, which the town is not sad about because DNL has done phenomenal work.
Yeah.
They always come in under budget. They did our Main Street Bridge. They're amazing. So we're actually asking us to authorize you to enter into contract with DNL for a contract amount not to exceed $250,000. This doesn't preclude staff from bidding things out. If we think that we need another bid on something, it also doesn't preclude staff from bringing projects to you. So for example, we're trying to work with a property owner to annex into town. Some lines need to be run. We received a number from DNL so that we can have those negotiations. When we're ready to move forward with that project, we will still be coming to you and saying, we need you to authorize us to allow DNL to do this $80,000 project or whatever it happens to be. So it doesn't relieve us of our other financial obligations to notify you all. What it relieves us of is we've advertised for a general contractor on call. So now we can use DNL if we choose to without putting out another RFP when we're paying cash for projects. Grant funded projects are a separate issue and are governed by those grant requirements.
Any questions? Anybody? Any comments? Okay, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize the town administrator to enter into contract with DNL Construction for the general contractor on call with a contracted amount not to exceed $250,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Janice Bryant and a second by trustee Nick Manning to authorize the town administrator to enter into contract with DNL Construction for the general contractor on call with a contract amount not to exceed $250,000. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Henderson.
Aye.
Trustee Nick Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryant.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Helm.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so the next is the DOLA Administrative Planning Grant Pass to Mesa Verde Planning Grant.
Yes, I reached out to the mayor and the mayor pro tem meeting because I had to get this submitted. But I'm putting it before you because I can pull it if necessary. We are working on Pass to Mesa Verde. This project has been underway since 2016. We have funding for 100% of design from Mancos to Mesa Verde. We're working on funding. We have some funding, but not all funding for construction from Mancos to Mesa Verde. One of our construction funding grant agencies want a cost benefit analysis. So I asked DOLA to fund through their administrative planning grant program $25,000 to the town for that cost benefit analysis. They estimate that it will be $25,000 to $30,000. So I have submitted that to DOLA. They're still reviewing. There's been no decision made. So if you don't approve this grant application, I will contact Randy tomorrow and say, pull our grant application and want to approve it. If you are fine with me moving forward, then I just need a motion and a second, and I'll vote to ratify my decision to apply for a grant application. But I did reach out to the mayor and the mayor pro tem while I was in California. And it was just that gap because we canceled that last meeting in June, so. Sure.
Any questions? All right, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the grant application to DOLA for an administrative planning grant for the Pass to Mesa Verde project.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by trustee Nick Manning and a second by trustee Betsy Harrison to approve the grant application to DOLA for an administrative planning grant for the Pass to Mesa Verde project. Jamie, would you call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Simpson.
Aye.
Trustee Betsy Harrison.
Aye.
Trustee Nick Manning.
Aye.
Trustee Denise Bryant.
Aye.
Trustee Ed Helm.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving right along to the next thing is board attendance discussion. And this came up at the board retreat because there was not very many of us at the retreat. Betsy, you were excused because you were sick. So it was Janice, Cindy, and myself. And Richard was here. Thank you. Could see him, but I couldn't put a name on him.
What's his face?
Richard was here. So it was discussed at that time that we all need, we've taken on this job. We all need to be aware of the dates and the times for the retreat, especially because that is where the board comes together to direct ideas to direct the staff where we want to go. So it's important that we put these dates on our calendar and that we show up at these meetings. If you're sick, it's a different story. We need to try not to be out of town, unless it's an emergency or something, but we really need to show board attendance. We need to be here. We've made a commitment to our community to be at these things. We also set a date to tour the facilities. We all agreed to that in a public meeting, and there was 3 of us that showed up for that. And so we also need to start, if we can't come during the week because we work, then we need to ask staff to come in on a Saturday, give up some of their time, pay them or something. But if we talk about this in a public meeting and we agree to it as a whole, then we need to make an honest effort to be there. So those are just things that I felt that we need to talk about. We've also at one time talked about if you don't attend a meeting, you don't get paid. We can't do that now. We can make that, we can talk about that and think about that, and we can make that resolution or that policy for the next board. So that if you don't attend a board meeting without a legitimate excuse, if you're sick, that's one thing, but we can't be sick every other meeting or something, but you just don't get paid. And then we have talked about that several times. And so I will open it up for anybody else that has any comments.
Well, I think even going beyond the pay issue, I think probably for most of us, that's a little slap on the hand. We all got elected or appointed or however we made it onto the board to do something for the town. And I think that I take it really seriously, and I'm the one that was begging to participate over the phone when I had to travel for work, and I know Ed's done that too a couple of times. But we get voted in by people that want us to work for them. And so I just feel like we need to show up, be present, and be prepared, and, and whatever the board decides, abide by it, So it's my 4 cents.
Nick?
Yeah, I think, so, and I was talking to Queenie a little bit earlier about this, but I'll be really blunt, it's felt like I've been set up for failure from the beginning on this, and I got drowned with information about policies, the legal, there's a lot to take in. What wasn't clear to me was really clear expectation setting, and I would have wished from the beginning that there was some sort of mentor-mentee relationship or something from another board member that said hey, this is how you succeed, this is where you need to be, these are the expectations, and I totally agree about being elected in, and yeah, there's gray area to me about what is there's the meetings and then the retreat. Somehow I missed that. I had it in my calendar on a different set of dates. That's on me. But then the facilities tour, it was really unclear to me what was expected there and what that purpose of that was, other than to just see these sites. So I just, some better expectation setting. The moment there's a new board member, I'm going to grab them and say, hey, here's how you can be successful within this model. Because I just felt like it didn't work for me personally, the way things were set up. So I just want to put that out there, that it had been frustrating for me personally. I'm the kind of person who likes to, be there and be professional and be on time and make it, I like to know where I need to be. And I just have felt multiple times that it's just not, for me personally, has not worked to my benefit. It's simple stuff as, there's some weeds I could get into, but I just, for me personally, I agree about, showing up, and I think it's also on the board to take care of the board members and bring them in and say, to remind each other when things are coming, to kind of put that out there, because I just felt like it's been tough for me. It's been tough for me to kind of feel like I'm, collaborative and being supported and knowing what is expected.
So we talked about that, and maybe we can do a mentorship. I will be going off the board, but maybe before the election to say, hey, somebody willing to step up and take a new member under your wing and kind of give them the guidelines and things. We did talk about it would be nice if our new board members attended the meetings beforehand.
Yep.
We talked about that. Because then you kind of know what's expected and what. But so I know Heather had a long discussion with the lady that wanted to run for mayor, and she backed out because it's only two meetings a month. No, it's not. There's a lot more to it. So it's just things that we need to talk about, we need to be aware of, because it is perception too. If you're sick, we don't want you here when you're sick. Like Richard has COVID tonight, we don't want him here. Betsy, when you're sick, we don't. And there are times when we're going to be out of town with the job working, because we all have to work to,
Unfortunately.
Sadly.
And, and young kids too at home.
Right, right.
I mean, I know.
Right. So, but
one of the difficult parts is life does happen.
Life does happen, but
It's the board is very important, and I think as long as all of us put in our best effort, but understanding that it's virtually impossible for all of us to be here every time.
Right.
So I think that, by and large, I think that this board and the past board that I've sat with has been pretty good about that. I know we've all missed meetings, some more than others, but, like example, if someone has a family reunion that hits on board night, that doesn't mean, their event, that should be allowed. Those kind of things should be allowed. As far as the, like when you go back to the facilities, I didn't go to because I've been to them all many times.
Right.
Sure. So that's a little different, but I think maybe if in going to what Nick had made the statement on is if we made them more, we're going to do this for this instead of just saying it's a facility visit. Say we're going to go there and put some meat into it of what the expectation or what the intent of that is, other than to just walk the facilities.
Right.
We're going to go there and we're going to, it's like when we did the sewer plant, when we had the issues with the sewer plant, and we went there with a specific agenda to look at the sewer plant issues.
Right.
That everyone went to because everyone really wanted to understand that. But if someone said, hey, I want to go take you to the sewer plant, hell, I've been there. So that's where I think Nick's point is very valid. Is we need to explain ourselves a little better on those things.
And communication, and that's what we talked about. But I did want to bring the subject up, and especially when we set a date for a retreat, and we've all agreed on that retreat, and the retreat is very, very, very important. Now, life happens, and sometimes you can't be here, but again, then you need to call in or something, let people know why, because a retreat is when we definitely work with the staff, and we work together to set where we want to go for the next year, the next 5 years. So that's just, I wanted to bring the subject up and let us think about it and talk about it. And Nick mentioned the mentorship, and I think that might be a good idea.
Makes a lot of sense.
So Janice, you have something to say? Please.
We all get the same emails, and everybody knows what time to be where. It's not okay to say, well, I didn't know. Or we check our egos at the door. Oh, I've already been there a bunch of times. Well, that's not okay, because there was an agenda to go to take this tour. Because how many meetings have we had about the sewer plant? We've had a lot recently. We've had all these meetings. So I think there was something to gain there. And we're talking about the water plant. There's a lot to learn up there. We've talked about the airport, to go out there. It isn't, oh, I've seen this a bunch of times. This is a new day. This is a new board. This is a new time. And if you aren't going to be here, I think we email Heather and we arrange a different date. It's like we all do have other things outside of here to do, and it's just not okay not to show up and leave it to the rest of us who came and showed up when I had something really important to do myself. So I came onto this board during COVID, not one person did I even see in person for months. So, I mean, it's like, oh, I need a mentor and all this, you know. That would work great, but it isn't where we're at right now. Maybe next time around, it's just read the packet, know what we're going to be discussing. It's the same thing I said to the citizens tonight. It's personal responsibility. This isn't it, and I'm telling you, if people don't come, I'll just resign because this is not working for me when I show up and no one else does.
Thank you. And I want to thank Terry for your time
Yeah.
and your expertise.
That was
and
great.
You took the time to explain things to us and to answer our dumb questions and to show us where we're hoping to go with the new repairs and things. And I can't tell you thank you enough because I've seen it every year when we tour it. I've gone down there. But for you to say, well, this is going to go away and this is going to go here, and you know, I'm just amazed at where you guys are working forward for us to get that plant working. And again, thank you and you too, Heather, for the expertise that you guys put into that and taking your time, because I'm sure you had something you could have been doing for those 2 hours too. So.
Cleaning out the muffin monsters.
Yeah, you could have been down there, you know, cleaning out things instead of walking us around. But again, I just want to say thank you. That's what I just wanted to bring that up and have a discussion on it. Items for the July 20th, 22 agenda.
27.
27.
Okay, we got
Typo.
20 on here. Okay.
Oops.
Let's be for the 27th.
I have a request for a meeting. Jared is our new library director, and they've really got some good projects going over there, and he's been willing, he said he'd be willing to come. I don't know if you want to do it next week if we have some time. So it'd be really nice to hear from the new library director what the library is up to.
Yes. So I'm going to try to find some time because we start our budget discussion.
Yeah.
Those happen in workshops. The chamber was supposed to, they can't meet with us anytime in January. We asked me to set up a joint chamber workshop. I never heard back from the school. They're not interested in meeting with you, so that's awesome. So the chamber wants to meet maybe the first meeting in August, and then if I have the library director come at a workshop, that pushes our budget process.
Yeah.
Why don't you have him come?
Just have him come to. He can talk after Gerald. Because I think it'd be great for the citizens to hear, also to participate what he has to say and reports and stuff.
On the agenda.
Yeah.
Next item is like a discussion library update.
Okay, so you don't mind reaching out to him? Okay.
That's a good idea. I will not be here at the 27th meeting.
July 27th? So will you have the ability to review the packet and send me comments like you do?
Sure.
Basically just, I would like your, sewer discussion.
I really don't need your opinion.
Because some of the stuff we're gonna continue talking about.
Yeah,
This the first
for
one,
sure.
At the end of the world.
Yeah.
Sewer discussion.
Yeah.
That's
And then any
the
questions you have that, you know, but that if you have specific.
Yeah, I can do that. I can shoot an email.
Items you want me to bring to them. Because some of the other stuff we'll be talking a couple of times. This is the first time you'll see it, so you'll have an opportunity to get it away. Okay. But also,
Does anybody else have anything else? Don't forget to put the sewer.
I have that sewer discussion on there as a workshop.
Yeah, that would be bad if we forgot.
That would be one you don't want to forget. Oops, sorry guys, we forgot.
Can I ask, like?
No, wait a minute. When you say the workshop, that's, you got the 2020 capital project discussion, the yard west. So you took that off and that's where you got the sewer rates.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, just want to make sure.
And the yard waste and town cleanup's being moved to some other time, because that's the fee discussion. Do we charge for that? It's not how do we do it, it's do we start charging for it? that can wait. Because we'll just do the one this year that we have status quo and we can have this discussion for next year.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else they want to add to those? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. All right. Adjourn. Do you need?